It's the first day, effectively, of meteorological winter, isn't it? So
Is that it?
you have
So winter
your
kicks in
thermals
from
on.
today?
Well, no.
You'd have
that's
to
not
go
what I
down.
said.
Could you not say officially Christmas kicks in today, no?
Yeah, well, it has. But my tree's been up for like 10 days, so Christmas has been going
You're not
on
going to get
for
it down now. You'll have to hold on a wee bit longer now.
Oh, no, but so I've been in the Christmas spirit. We
right.
were at Glenveigh yesterday. It was lovely.
Just tell me a little bit about Glenveigh. How special is that?
It's really, really nice. They do it for charity, and we managed to get tickets. The tickets are like hen's teeth.
Right.
And it's only a donation that you have to give, which is not insignificant. It's a fantastic thing. And you go into the visitor centre, and then you bus to the castle, and then the storytelling. Auntie Freeze was doing the storytelling. She's a lovely lady.
Lovely.
And then you go and get some arts and crafts. Then you go and see the big
Nice.
man, and away on the bus again.
But so enchanting with the castle too, and your pictures on your own social feed was
thanks
amazing.
very much.
I'm just anybody's curious to see what it looks like. I wanted to share it with
you
a couple.
see me overshare.
Yeah, sure. But it looked class. It
was lovely.
Looked really, really nice.
No, they do a fantastic thing. It's a lovely place, and all the staff are really, really nice. And I believe they're working at weekends. I'm not sure if they already do, but it's all done for charity as well too.
Busy.
All right,
Lovely. Have a good show.
Thank you, Lee. Have a great Monday. It's 9 o'clock. Let's get a news update, and it's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The Stormont Assembly has heard calls for observer status at EU level for political representatives in Northern Ireland. It's after 14 MEPs wrote to the President of the European Parliament seeking the status. Foyle MLA Ciara Ferguson raised the issue with First Minister Michelle O'Neill, saying the letter also noted that in the case of a United Ireland, the North would rejoin the EU automatically. In response, Michelle O'Neill said the discussions on a possible United Ireland need to be had now, and EU observer status would help.
The letter also noted that in the event of Irish unity, the North would automatically rejoin the EU. Does the First Minister believe granting observer status would help us better plan and prepare for the future?
I certainly think that the discussions and the preparations need to be had now in terms of constitutional change, and I think those discussions need to be had with an Irish government, with a British government, at an EU level. So I do think that the observer status for Northern representatives would certainly assist in terms of the planning and the preparation.
The A5 remains closed this morning following a road traffic collision on the Beltony Road. There are diversions in place at Baronscourt and from Quinn Road. Police are urging motorists to take alternative routes if possible. The road expected to remain closed for much of the morning. The government has announced the Christmas bonus will be paid to over 1.5 million social welfare recipients this week, 54,900 of them in Donegal. Eligible recipients include pensioners, carers, people with disabilities and lone parents. There's a full list on highlandradio.com. The bonus will be issued alongside regular weekly payments. Minister for Social Protection Dara Cleary says over 1 million households will benefit.
Full list of schemes is available on gov.ie. There are some schemes with conditions on it, but predominantly the majority of schemes apply. But for all of there are some schemes that have conditionality. You'll get that on gov.ie, but we're 1.471 million households will benefit from this. So that's a huge proportion of our social protection clients right across the country.
Ishgaren says efforts to safeguard water supply for homes and businesses in West Donegal are continuing. Essential maintenance works are taking place this week. Crews have begun reservoir cleaning works at Crawley Water Treatment Plant. Tomorrow and Wednesday works will continue at reservoirs in Letchermecca Ward, Mahary, Portnew and Rossbeg, with customers experiencing potential supply disruptions while those works are underway. The works will be carried out between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. And the former county manager Michael McCloone, who passed away at the weekend, has been remembered as a pioneer who transformed Donegal County Council. Mr McCloone served as county manager from 1994 until 2010 and oversaw a number of groundbreaking initiatives, including the construction of public service centres in Carndonagh, Donegal Town, Dunlow, Letterkenny and Milford. Councillor Kieran Brogan says that was part of a process that brought the council closer to the people.
He brought the council out closer to the people and brought all the relevant agencies with it as well. The vision and the plan that he had was huge, and in fairness to the elected members of Donegal County Council, they gave them the backing and the endorsement to do that. When you look at the vision and the plan that he had for the 5 area offices in Carndonagh, in Donegal, in Dunlow, in Milford and Letterkenny, it was about bringing the services closer to the people.
And the weather forecast mostly dry with isolated showers and some clear spells possible. However, over the course of the day, showers will feed in from the Atlantic, merging into longer spells of rain at times, particularly in the afternoon, becoming less frequent later in the evening with clear spells developing from the west. Top temperatures today 7 to 11 degrees Celsius with light to moderate southwesterly winds. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 10 o'clock.
In life, you've around 29,000 days, and those days can be full of what ifs. Like, what if it doesn't work? But what if it does? What if you really went after it? Because life is measured in those moments. So go after every one. Talk to AIB today, and let's see how we can turn your what ifs into what's next. AIB, for the life you're after. Allied Irish Banks plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. It's nearly 5 minutes past 9 on this Monday, the 1st of December. How are you all keeping? I hope you had a wonderful weekend as we awake and move around on what is a dull Northwest this morning. 086 60 25,000. Our lines are open for you right now. So we want you to comment as we get through the topics of the day. Of course, you know what we do here, don't we? Don't you? We talk of all the news stories that are important to you, local or national. We really enjoy your comments as they come in throughout the course of the morning, and we want you involved in that. And of course, great conversations that matter to you. People from around the Northwest, maybe they've achieved something special, or there's something in their life that they want to talk about to help others, all that type of stuff. We love being able to facilitate all of that. So the text and WhatsApp line 086 60 25,000. If you prefer to give us a call, you can do so on 07491 25,000, and emails come into us at comments@highlandradio.com. Right, let's have a look at the newspapers this morning. We'll go with the front page of the Derry People Donegal News. And plans for a large new childcare facility in East Donegal have been overturned after Transport Infrastructure Ireland successfully appealed the planned development on Commission Planala. Donegal County Council had granted conditional planning approval in July 2024 for the redevelopment of the River Club premises in Castlefin into a childcare facility. The plans include a facility with a maximum capacity of over 100 children and up to 20 staff members, and that site located along the N15 National Primary Road. And we all know the importance of childcare and childcare facilities in certain areas around the county, all areas in fact. TII, though, they appealed to on Commission Planala, and Commission Planala has recommended that permission be refused, citing serious road safety concerns. The planned development relied on access directly from a section of the N15 where 100-kilometre speed limit applies. But is there not a situation, though, whereby that could be taken into consideration and maybe measures put in place to ensure that a really important piece of infrastructure, and it's strange talking about a services infrastructure, but in this day and age to have childcare facilities in good spaces is so important. Could the TII not have said, well, we could potentially maybe make these changes to... Anyway, I don't know. Because what happens, this is often, the TII build roads along these premises, outside schools and all that type of stuff. And then we have to campaign for years to try and get them to make some changes to the road to make it safer. Here we have a situation where I suppose the roles have been reversed, whereby there is an important piece of service infrastructure being put in place. Could the TII not say, well, if we'd have built the road past this, we'd have had to consider this, that and done? Could they not have done that and let it go through? I don't know. Maybe there's elements to that project that I'm missing, but a little bit of joined up thinking might have helped. Anyway, the Derry News this morning. A man has appeared in court accused of attempting to murder a police officer in Northern Ireland with a knife. Owen Collin, 21, from Colleen Lane in Derry, appeared at Dungannon Magistrates Court on Saturday. It follows an incident in which police officers were attacked at a property in the early hours of Thursday. One officer was stabbed in the leg and there was an attempt to stab another in the chest. Collin appeared via video link from the custody suite at Waterside PSNI station, and reading some of those reports, those police very lucky to have avoided very serious injury. Let's get on to the Nationals now. There's a bit of a row brewing, or has been brewing, down in Dublin. Someone had taken the notion of changing a park which was named with Israeli connections. I'll get into that into the article. Obviously the Israeli government had their say in relation to this. And as it turns out, the procedures weren't exactly followed as they should have been. So the plans for the time being have been shelved. So the Times tells us that plans to remove the name of a former president of Israel from a public park in Rathgar, South Dublin, are to be suspended following a weekend of national and international pressure on Dublin City Council. Herzog Park was named in 1995 in honour of Belfast-born Jane Herzog, Israel's president from 1983 to 1993, who spent his early childhood in Dublin when his father was Chief Rabbi of Ireland. A recommendation by the Council's cross-party commemorations committee to remove the Herzog name from the park was to go to Council for approval this evening. However, yesterday evening, Council Chief Executive Richard Shakespeare said he was proposing to withdraw the item from tonight's agenda and refer it back to the commemorations committee because the current legislative procedures had not been followed, which is, you know, I mean, as I say, the Irish government had their say, the Israeli government had their say on X, and now all of a sudden there's been a procedural issue and that won't go ahead. So people will draw their own conclusions in relation to that. The Irish Independent reports that the threat of Islamist terrorist radicalisation among young people in Ireland is growing, according to the head of the Garda Síochána Special Detective Unit. Detective Chief Superintendent Brian Wood said that the SDU has been involved in at least 10 interventions in the last number of months in relation to radicalisation and religious extremism. This is one of our main priorities, and we would commit resources to it and work with the National Community Policing Unit as well as local Garda units in an attempt to make an early intervention, the senior detective said. No prosecutions have resulted in any of the early interventions so far, with Gardaí focusing predominantly on engaging with the young person at risk of radicalisation. So what we'll have seen in the past is in other countries, thankfully I can't recall a very serious incident here, is that someone might be radicalised, and then in the past we've seen knife attacks where there's been multiple fatalities or what have you. It hasn't happened here, but obviously the Gardaí are concerned that it might. And like every religion, there are different levels of interpretation of it and moderate views and extreme views. But obviously the Gardaí have had 10 interventions in relation to radicalisation. Everyone is risk assessed, reading on the quote here, by us, and prosecutions will depend on the level of threat that has been identified as well as a number of other factors, Detective Chief Superintendent Wood said. In recent times, Ireland has seen isolated incidents of extreme violence by young males who have been radicalised online to become involved in Islamist terrorism. On to the Irish Daily Mail now, and this is a story that the Mail's covered before, and it really is quite, I wouldn't say bizarre, but quite worrying, certainly worrying, but it's just the details of it seem bizarre. 7 female paramedics have come forward to lift the lid on an alleged sexual predator in the service who they claim has been drugging colleagues for almost a decade to abuse them. The man at the centre of a Garda investigation into the sexual assault at a hospital and giving women the powerful relaxation midazolam is often prescribed to induce memory loss, so patients will not remember any discomfort or undesirable effects that may occur after a surgery. Well, in October it was revealed the man was still working for the National Ambulance Service and has remained on full pay despite the allegations. However, he has been banned from interacting with patients at the hospital in the east of the country until investigations are over. The Irish Daily Mail has been contacted by the women who all claim they were either a victim of his or witnessed him being inappropriate towards colleagues, and yet he's still at work, which I suppose innocent until proven guilty and all that, but obviously there's concern enough that he's not interacting with patients. As I say, it's a really interesting story, that, for all the wrong reasons, if you know where I'm coming from. Farmers might be concerned about the first suspected blue tongue virus, or maybe we all should. It's a blue tongue virus outbreak on the island of Ireland. It's the first, and it's under investigation. The disease is believed to be affecting 2 cows near Bangor in County Down. On Saturday, Stormont's Department of Agriculture, Environment and Rural Affairs introduced a 20-kilometre temporary control zone, and moving susceptible species in or out of it is now prohibited. A general licence is available that allows animals to cross the boundary if they are going directly to slaughter. Blue tongue is an animal disease that affects livestock, including cattle and sheep, as well as goats, deer and llamas. Symptoms include a blue and swollen tongue, fever-induced milk yield, and, in most cases, death. So 2 cows have been infected in County Down. We wouldn't want to see that spreading, I'm sure. But I do note, I imagine those in the farming community keeping a close eye in relation to that. This is not based up here, but it's something I think that's happening down the country in Kerry, I believe it is, that you might be interested in, because there's lots of people contact us on a regular basis, put off by very loud cars, loud engines, modified exhausts. And a number of drivers are facing hefty fines and prosecution after a week and Garda checkpoint blitz targeting cars with illegal modifications. It's the Kerry Road Policing Unit responsible for it, and they held the operations in Killarney, with officers keeping a sharp eye out for a range of road traffic offences. Many vehicles were given thorough checks to make sure everything was up to scratch. Now, we do tend to do this, certainly high profile, around the Donegal International Rally. I'm not sure if it happens outside of that weekend. But the more seasoned officers, however, could spot illegal mods on cars with just a glance, and in some cases they could even hear them coming. At least that was what happened with one vehicle, where officers could tell right away that it had an excessive, noisy exhaust making sounds well above Ireland's 72 decibel limit. How loud is 72 decibels? I'd be interested in that. And finally, not trying to put you off your turkey 25 days out, but a record number of rats are set to invade homes across Ireland this festive season. Experts have warned there were almost twice as many infestations this month as there were in November last year. Pest control services have ordered hundreds of extra traps and even put teams of technicians on standby to work on Christmas Day to deal with the anticipated plague of rodents. Now, not surprisingly, it is a pest control organisation that's released that information, but maybe you're seeing more rats about, more mice. Certainly seeing them dart across the road more than I might have in the past. Right, I'm going to give you a quick mention of a competition we've got running on the show here now before we take a break and welcome our next guest on, and it's the Cadbury Secret Santa. So we've teamed up with Cadbury Secret Santa, who's over 20,000 bars to give away this year. Have you ever received one? I haven't, but I do know people that have had or have. To celebrate the return of Secret Santa, we have €500 to give away on Friday. That's €250 for you and €250 for your someone special. So it's not bad, is it? 500 quid up for grabs on Friday. So to be in to win, all you need to do is tell us why you would want to surprise someone special with a Secret Santa bar this year. Why do they deserve it? And we might read some of these out over the course of the week, if you don't mind, and just to give you a sense of why people are important to other people. So what good reason do you have to surprise someone with a Cadbury Secret Santa bar? Tell us about someone in your life who deserved the Secret Santa bar this year. So you could win €250 for you and then the person that you're nominating. So 250 quid each. And it's all with thanks to Cadbury Secret Santa. And don't forget, if you want to send a bar to someone in secret, look out for the special posters all around our beautiful region. So, who do you want to nominate? Why would they deserve a Secret Santa bar? Text or WhatsApp 086 60 25,000, and you can email comments at highlandradio.com. And one winner every day will go into the draw on Friday for €250 for themselves and €250 voucher, one for all voucher for someone special. All right, that's all thanks to our friends at Cadbury Secret Santa.
Newspapers are kindly supplied by Cosgrove Centra, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountaintop Diner.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Christmas just got even bigger at Highland Radio. Not only could you win a brand new Renault Symbioz Techno worth over 35,000 euro, but from December 8th to 19th, we're giving away a grand a day. If you've already bought your ticket, you're automatically in. If you haven't, now's the time to get your tickets at highlandradio.com.
As your bump gets bigger, sleeping on your side helps keep your baby safe. It's okay if you wake up on your back at night, just turn on to your side again. Visit mychild.ie for advice on pregnancy, baby and toddler health.
At Londis, we wish our customers in Donegal a very happy Christmas. We know what locals want because we are local like you, even as local as Lough Swilly on a beautiful crisp winter's day. Happy Christmas from Londis.
At Hidden Hearing, we believe you should keep hearing it all. Keep dancing, keep celebrating, keep laughing, keep being you. Call 1-800-370-000 or go to hiddenhearing.ie and book a free hearing test today. Hidden Hearing, your hearing is our expertise.
The fastest and easiest way to apply or renew a passport for you or your child is online. But if you find applying online challenging, the Passport Assist Service is here to help. For one-to-one support, call the Passport Assist Service on 01 613 1795.
Save 20% in the Loganair Tartan sale with promo code Tartan20. Book now at loganair.co.uk. T/Cs and exclusions apply, subject to availability.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with our bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the North West, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Friday 9am until 5pm and on Saturdays from 9am until 3:30pm. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
The time now is 21 minutes past 9. Now, we're joined on the programme by Jim McLaughlin, who is a suckler farmer, and it's in the context of the Mercer Court deal, which seems to be being fast-tracked, or not fast-tracked, but certainly pushed through at a European level. There's a lot of benefits for lots of countries, right? So if your country relies heavily on car manufacturing, like Germany, for an example, or the creation of white goods, a number of countries could benefit that. Part of this deal, as an example, would be it would open up the market for those goods into Brazil. But at what cost? The Brazilians want to be able to export beef into the European Union as part of that deal. And you would have read last week, or you certainly would have heard anyway, in the Irish Farmers Journal that the regulation of beef in Brazil is actually really quite poor in terms of hormones getting into the animals, antibiotics, etc., etc. And there is that concern that if that enters our food supply here, it could have negative impacts. So suffice to say, there's a lot of opposition to it. But unfortunately, for those who are opposed to it, there's a lot of money in this going in the other direction. Jim McLaughlin, as I mentioned, a suckler farmer. Just trying to set it up, Jim, there for where we're at the moment. And I don't know if you agree or disagree, but what do you believe the impact of this might be?
Good morning, anyway, Greg, and good morning to your listeners. Listen, hey, as a small farmer, hey, and a man of the land, there's a lot of negative things can happen here. And I'd be very, very afraid that the small farmer in Ireland could become sacrificial lamb here. Like at the end of the day, consumers have a big fact to play in this here. Like Irish farmers for the last 30 years have been very, very good. They've been practicing a lot of environmental issues, antibiotic issues, animal remedies, spreading slurry, feedstuffs. We've produced a top end product there, like that can't be matched. Like all we're looking for here is fair play. Like the product that Brazil's producing, like there's no overseeing it. There's no watching what the jag into that animal. There's no registration of calf births. There's nothing, practically nothing. And that's not sour grapes now. Like, I'm only speaking, all I want is fair play here. Like, I don't want to see the Irish farmer becoming the sacrificial lamb. I don't want to see farming ending in Ireland, but farming's heading down a bad road in Ireland, like, because the average age of a farmer in Ireland, the man's 63, and that's the age I am, and I have nobody coming behind. So, if farming was good and the outlook was good, there would plenty of young boys looking to farm.
I think us as consumers need to be careful here too, Jim, because of course we are in a cost of living crisis, and we all know the price of lean ground beef, steaks, whatever is really it is high at the moment, but it's a quality product. Next year we could see side by side, Brazilian beef, Irish beef. Will it be clearly marked? Will we know which is which? Maybe the Brazilian beef will be cheaper, and that then creates. Go ahead, yeah.
The Brazilian beef will be cheaper.
What that does then, it makes Irish farmers say, well, we can't compete with all the hoops we have to jump through. We're going to have to raise our cattle in a different way. So it potentially drives the overall quality down, because there's not enough of us, Jim, that are prepared to spend the little money we have left to back the Irish farmer, if that makes sense, when there's a product beside it much cheaper.
I totally appreciate that, but in my feeling, the danger of that is if we're going to have to compete with the Brazilian beef, as you said, the Irish farmer there might have to change his practice. Like, do we go to the way the Brazilians produce the beef, and do we go to a cheap way of farming? Like, it's not cheap. Like we're governed pretty strongly. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of regulations. And listen, the Irish farmers abiding to all them rules and regulations. And like, we're producing a grade A product here. Like, I would hate to think that the last 30 years with all the inspections and all the ticking of boxes and writing everything down and recording if a beast was sick. Like, at the end of the day, there's another big issue here. Like, in Brazil, there could be 5,000 cattle in the one field. And a Brazilian farmer can head to the forest today. They can cut down 2,000 acres of trees. There's mass deforestation in Brazil. Now, that deforestation creates problems with the ecosystem, with animals, small animals. You have a problem then with carbon. People's tuned in now, even the children in school are on about emissions, global warming, climate change and stuff. Like in Ireland, the Irish farmer has collectively, the milkman, the dairyman, the porkman, the sheepman, the poultryman, we've all bought into a thing called sequestration, which allows the trees to absorb the carbon and store the carbon. But in Brazil, they're cutting down the trees.
Well, just in relation to that, and I said this years and years ago, and it's not that I knew and other people didn't, but it's just I've got a seat to sit in and say these things. It's remarkable that in this country, there are so many industries that contribute to the climate in a negative way. I think farming has been the one industry that has done as much as it possibly can to limit, but still farmers are seen as the bad guys.
Farmers can't do anymore.
But just to make the point, farmers are seen as bad guys. And then the plan is, after all that crap farmers have had to listen to, the plan is to spend a fortune on diesel, whatever fuel it might be, to ship beef all the way from Brazil to the EU, and at the same time, as you quite rightly pointed out, encourage the destruction of the world's lungs, right? That's what they're described as, to do so.
100%,
And
100%.
it's also other countries can sell fridges, washing machines and cars into Brazil. If I was a farmer, I'd be going like, are you taking the absolute pee here?
Like farming, like the other big issue here, it's a massive issue, like, and nobody talks about, animal welfare. Like, animal welfare and a farmer's eye in Ireland is top of the list. Like, at the end of the day, if the farmer himself is actually a vet, because he's the man that first notices his animal's sick, or it's not the same, it's not eating right, and then he gets the vet. Animal welfare is massive. Ireland, like, there's too many rules. There's a bit of over-regulation towards farmers as well. Like, some of the rules, for the want of a better word, some of the words are draconian. Like, you have the slurry issue there. Like, this is a big time of year now for farmers, whether you're a suckler farmer or a dairy farmer. Your cattle are indoors now for maybe 7 months. So come February or March, your slurry could be starting to build up, and your tanks could be starting to maybe overflow in some cases, and you could be within a closed period. You mightn't be allowed to spray the slurry. But within that closed period, the weather could be good, the ground could be dry, the conditions are more favourable for spreading the slurry if the slurry can't get to waterways. But no, don't spread that slurry for 3 weeks. 3 weeks' time, the ground's wet, saturated, there's muck everywhere. The farmer has to cross a public road to get the slurry out, and then commuters and stuff. There's a lot of over-regulation.
But we are seeing what we're seeing though. It would seem, Jim, and I'm an outsider looking on because I don't have a farm. This is a very similar conversation to what we're having about the fishing industry. Over-regulation in Ireland, and to get deals like Brexit over the line, the Irish fishing industry feel that they are the sacrificial lamb, or they are the European bargaining chip. And yet here we are again talking about farming, over-regulation, tightening of nitrates limits, all that kind of stuff. And again, it would seem to get this deal over the line, it is the farmer and the Irish farmer that's going to pick up the tab again. It's very, very similar as well too. You talk, Jim, about no one coming behind you to... we've lost a generation of fishermen, whether they're men or women fishermen, right? We're losing that next... and we're losing that generation of farmers. As you say, you're not on your own. Who's coming behind you? And I think people even not involved in farming should understand what direction then the country is going, what difference it would make in rural communities if the farmer isn't there to care for the land or to raise the animals.
Well, you see, the problem, there's another element to the farming. Like, farming's a way of life. Like, for me, it's a way of life. There's a great bond between you and the animals. Like, the people don't see the nights you sit up with a cow waiting under the calf, and that can go horribly wrong. You could have a dead calf or a dead cow, but that's all part of farming. And there's a mental health issue with farming. It can become very tiring. You can get stressed, but we keep going. We keep farming, and we want to keep farming. We want to. It's part of our culture. It's part of the fabric of life. Like it's a lovely way of life. Like, and I just see it. The rules are going to stop it.
What do you predict? Say, for instance, 5 years from now. Which is short term. What impact do you think this deal would have when it goes through? Because I don't think anything's going to stop it at this stage because there's too much money involved. What do you think it means for the Irish grass-fed beef in 4 or 5 years?
I think Brussels is going to have to make more favourable decisions to the member states. The national suckler herd in Ireland demands declining by about 10% per year. So in 5 years' time, there could be maybe 300,000 less suckler cows if the current trends keep going. There's going to be a world shortage of food. So the countries like in the Mershcore region are going to get an advantage because they're going to be able to push. They're big producers. They're going to be able to push into weaker countries like us. And as I say, people need food. Like, I think the Irish farmer is going to get the wrong end of the stick here, because we spent the last 30 years trying to produce top end food, and now it's not going to matter. A cheap bit of food's going to be beside us, and there's going to be no records or no nothing for it. Like.
Yeah, and
it's hard to see what way it'll go. Like,
yeah. But I think also as consumers need to take more of an interest, because, as I say, that Irish Farmers Journal report was very, very clear. They were able to go in and buy antibiotics, all manner of drugs. No receipts, no nothing required. It was just open season. Right. Okay, Jim. Listen. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Buy antibiotics from Brazil, and that's to buy Rice Krispies.
Yeah. That's not good.
No, it's not good. No, and there's another thing. Like, we've been told, people have been encouraged to buy electric cars, and for the past 5 or 6 years, like the Chancellor of Exchequer in England just announced this morning that anybody with an electric car has to pay 3p a mile tax. So where I live here now, if that means it'll come into Ireland now too. That means if I drive to Letterkenny and back, I have to pay €2 tax because of an electric car.
I worked it out. I think it's about 800 to 900 quid a year extra on 30,000 kilometres or 30,000 miles, which is on top of.
3p a mile. But that's not encouraging people to think into global warming or climate change or stuff.
But the Brits are desperate at the moment. They're banjacks financially, and it's all because of some of the decisions.
England's in bad shape, man. England's in bad shape, man.
All right, Jim, lovely to chat. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Craig, can you give me another... Can can you give me another 15 seconds here?
Go on, yes. I'm not going to do you
Listen,
over like the EU is. Go on, talk.
No, listen, I just want to say something. Hey, on the mouth of Christmas now, like, it's a nice time of year for most people, and it is for me, right? But I'd just like to say, I have a great time for alcoholism. I'm an alcoholic myself, and I know Christmas can be a very hard time for people that's going through alcohol issues, right? But speaking from my own personal life, I'm a recovered alcoholic, and life's been good to me. And I have 5 children now and 4 grandchildren that I wouldn't have if I hadn't a good help. And just if maybe someone listener out there, they could be listening to this conversation, and if I can help somebody now with a drink problem and make their Christmas any bit easier, I'll gladly do that.
What do you suggest they do to recognise that they are an alcoholic?
Well, the first thing they do, the most important thing they can do is lift the phone and ring somebody like me, or there is help. Like alcoholism can be a very, very, very dark place, but I can tell you one thing: I'm one of the happiest alcoholics in the world. And see, when the light does come on, it's great.
Yeah.
There is another life, like there is another people, and the stigma too. There is no stigma. Wear the badge. Put the badge on.
Yeah.
I'm an alcoholic. You could be a diabetic. You could be someone else.
Yeah.
Go for it. Like it's a horrible disease. Hey, it's a horrible disease. Like people can lose their marriage, their children, their family life, and it's not a nice place to be now. If all you can see is alcohol and you don't see the other side of it. Like I'm not preaching temperance here or anything like that. But I love going out to people that drink, like, but
no, I think
you can't handle it.
It's exactly, you can't handle it. I think everyone can recognise the difference between being able to go in and have 1 or 2 pints or a glass of wine, and then not being able to go home or to spend all the money you have or open a second bottle every other night.
It's just sad. It's just so sad. Like every wee village in Ireland has 2 or 3 people at the moment. It's a massive problem. Like, and I would like to put my back to the wheel and help out, All
right, Jim. And did you use the AA program or go down a different route? Or?
No, I actually spent almost 3 months in St. Collins in Letterkenny drying out. If I live to the 16th of January, I'll be 40 years sober.
Well done. That's astonishing.
It's good. Hey, it's a great feeling. Hey, and I would class myself as, I'm not bumming here, but I would class myself as a philanthropist. Hey, and I've great understanding of the word empathy.
Yeah.
Empathy is a massive word that people don't get a grasp of. Like,
well, what is it in your view?
Empathy is listening to another person's opinion and respecting what they're saying, and it's something that's missing in life.
Yeah. We judge people very quickly as well, rather than maybe extending a.
Oh, we do. Of course, we do. Like we'll go back to the mayor score deal. Like the people making the decisions in Brussels and even in America now that's overseeing the mayor score deal. There's a lot of clowns involved in this. There's people that don't know what they're doing. Like, and me personally, like if I took my children to a circus in Letterkenny tomorrow and there's no clowns there, but my children will be very disappointed and I'll be looking for my money back. But I'll tell you, when you go to Brussels, they'll not be disappointed because there's plenty of clowns here.
Jim, listen, best of luck for your anniversary, if you call it that. I don't know, but that'll be 40 Christmases sober.
Listen, I've been an alcoholic every day. Every day is a new day.
Yeah, and you've been blessed with a wonderful family too. All right, Jim, you're so right. You're also right that because we talk about lots of different diseases on this show, and listen, people are very brave, if you want to call it that, and talk about alcoholism, the disease that it is. But there's certain diseases that people can talk freely about or feel they can, and alcoholism, it's often done with anonymity, and I can understand that, and we're not judging that, but it's funny because it is just another illness, it's another disease.
We need to get rid of the stigma. We need to get rid of it. I'll tell you now, hey, from experience, and I do help a lot of people that has alcohol problems.
Yeah.
I say alcoholism is one of the worst diseases in the world. I think alcoholism is worse than cancer. Because, God forbid, if you're told you have cancer today, your wife and your children will zoom in, they'll give you a better quality of life, you'll get away at a family holiday, you might make it, treatment could help you.
Most likely will, yeah.
But if you're an alcoholic, sometimes, a lot of the time, people go the faults up high and they end up death. But now there's a lot of losses to the
I know the analogy you're making there. It's the either the post-treatment care or I do understand what you're saying, Jim. Listen, thanks very much for chatting to me. I appreciate your time, Jim, and best luck and happy Christmas to you.
Jim, you Greg, thank you.
Bye. Jim McLaughlin there, a suckler farmer, and also with some great words of advice there. And there's lots of phone lines that you can ring if you come off the back of the weekend and you don't remember what you were at or where you were at, and it's something that you do on a regular occasion, and you think, there has to be something else other than that. Give someone like Jim a ring, or the AA, or any of the other kind of telephone numbers that are out there, and get on a different path for yourself, perhaps, potentially.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
If I was cyberbullied, you put your arm around me, right?
If the videos on my feed tried to push me to extremes, would you intervene?
What if I was pressured into a dangerous challenge?
Or became bombarded with videos of self-harm?
Disordered eating?
Suicide?
Children and young people can encounter violence, bullying, explicit content, and many other dangers online. Harmful content is never acceptable. Report it to the platform where you see it. Visit Commission the Mound at www.cnam.ie for more on how to report.
TFI Local Link operates evening and weekend services throughout rural Ireland to help you stay connected 7 days a week. We know life doesn't just happen 9 to 5, so if you're commuting, shopping, visiting family, or going out in the evenings or on the weekends, let TFI Local Link take you there. Visit transportforireland.ie.
There's bingo every Monday night at Halfway House, Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. The snowball is now €2,000 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo Burnfoot tonight at 8:30.
It's the Right Price Tiles, wood flooring and bathware 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles, wood flooring and bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale extended until Sunday.
Introducing Secret RF Microneedling to Genesis Clinic Gidor, a treatment that tightens, lifts and reduces wrinkles, stretch marks and scars. EDO thread lifts, exosomes and skin boosters are also available, improving facial contours and lifting jowls, the neck, cheeks and eyebrows. Genesis also offers dermal fillers and laser treatments for rosacea and acne plus all skin conditions. Christmas vouchers available from the clinic and online. Genesis Clinic Gidor 074 95 325 75.
Here, would you look at Eco Enda? He's only after going and getting himself one of the new Skoda EVs.
First he went vegan, then he got solar panels, now this.
I'm sure he'd buy anything as long as he can get a grant for it.
Must be from that county beside Monaghan.
The new fully electric Skoda range. The kind of cars that get the neighbours talking. But only if you're quick. Check availability at skoda.ie. Skoda, let's explore.
Skoda. Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
Very sad news over the weekend. 2 men died in a collision involving a bus and a car in County Fermanagh. It was on Friday. The incident occurred on the Derrylin Road in Enniskillen shortly after 7 p.m. Police said the two men who died were travelling in the car. The Bus Éireann Expressway coach was en route from Dublin to Donegal at the time. So, of course, initially our thoughts and prayers are with the 2 men and their families. But a very scary incident for all involved. Lisa joins me on the programme now. Lisa, thanks for chatting to me this morning.
Hi, Greg. Hi.
Your daughter was on that bus that was involved in that collision in which those 2 men sadly lost their lives. What was Dervla's experience?
Yeah, Dervla was just, she was up in Donegal for a few days and coming back down to Dublin. She's 15, so she just horrendous bang, kind of was shot forward, and phoned me in a panic. But they were on the bus for about 2 hours, and the PSNI came, the ambulance came. But there was a lovely girl, Alana, in her 20s, who really calmed Dervla down, was very calming to all the passengers, and made sure Dervla didn't look out, which was a complete write-off. God love the poor men, and really just helped her through it. And I was just wanting to thank Alana. I don't know who she is, but we just wanted to reach out, and I don't think Dervla would have got through it without her, because she was really good to her.
Yeah, you needed someone like that with you not being there to sort of step in and look after her, and Alana did that for you. So as a mum, that's a very special thing.
Absolutely. I was on the phone to Dervla trying to keep her calm during it, but I was driving up from Dublin at the time, it's very hard to, you just want to put your arms around her. She was just so upset, but Alana was great. Dervla was talking about her the whole way back. Yeah.
And obviously, Dervla will have to work through the emotional experience that she's had. Physically, you said she was jolted forward. Is she okay?
She's fine. She's a little banged to her head, but she had her seatbelt on, thank God.
Very good.
So she was checked out, and it was all fine.
And she's back to school today.
Small bruise.
So
back
you
to school today, yeah.
are speaking to me with a view to sort of, I suppose, tracking down and being able to thank Alana personally. She's in her mid-20s. Her mother lives in Donegal town. Alana herself lives in Dublin. So maybe she was heading back for the weekend after a visit. You just want to be able to chat to her, acknowledge her?
Exactly.
Okay.
Just acknowledge her, just to say thanks. I think she did offer Dervla her number, but Dervla didn't want to take it at the time. Thinking she should have then. She thinks that later. But,
she was up to high dough.
Yeah, exactly. Up to high dough. She didn't know what was going on. But I just looked to really show my appreciation. I mean, she really stepped up and was wonderful. And just wanted to say thanks, absolutely.
Okay, Lisa, we'll do our best. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg.
Take care of yourself. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. All right, bye-bye. That's Lisa there. She's looking for Alana, who is in her mid-20s. Her mother lives in Donegal town. Alana herself lives and presumably lives and works or studies in Dublin. And Alana was there for Lisa's daughter, Dervla, in that horrific environment. Dervla travelling back on the bus at 15 years of age, obviously, ordinarily, hassle-free, perfectly safe, but there was this awful collision on Friday night in which two men lost their lives, and Lisa looking to track Alana down. So if you know Alana, or you can pass on a message, maybe Alana doesn't want to, she just wants to be an unsung hero, but she is a hero to that family. Right, so you can get in touch with us, 086 60 25,000. And well done, Alana. If you're ever listening to this, you've made a big difference to someone, a family there. 086 60 25,000, just to remind you, that is the WhatsApp and the text number.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Make the most of the season at Sweeney's Hotel Dunlow. Enjoy festive afternoon tea from €30 per person, or explore our new brunch favourites. Every weekend, join us for bottomless Saturdays with 2 courses over 2 hours from €40 per person. Give a gift card this Christmas or call Sweeney's Hotel on 074 952 1085.
Fancy a well-deserved break while travelling? Bogue's Food Hall on the main Dublin Road in County Monaghan is the perfect place to stop. Enjoy delicious, freshly prepared food every day from our talented chefs. Open Monday to Saturday, 6:30am to 9pm, and Sundays and bank holidays, 7:30am to 8pm, with plenty of parking, indoor seating, great coffee, refreshments, and a beautiful selection of handcrafted bouquets. It's a stop you'll remember. Bogue's Food Hall, Dublin Road, Monaghan.
Running a business isn't easy, but accessing support should be. The new National Enterprise Hub is the single source for all government support for your business. With over 180 supports in one place, it's easier than ever to find grants, advice, training, and more. And don't worry about not knowing what you need. Our helpful team will guide you every step of the way. Visit neh.gov.ie to learn how we can help. The National Enterprise Hub. Support starts here, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Ho, ho, ho! Santa's here with an important message for all good recyclers. Whether from toys, tech, decorations, or devices, never ever bin batteries. Always recycle for free. It's easy. Just return your old batteries for free recycling to your point of purchase. Or find your nearest drop-off point at weireland.ie. Let's keep our planet safe and bright.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Discover Christmas gift ideas for everyone on your list, from trending beauty to memorable Secret Santa gifts. Visit us in Ballybuffet to explore our extensive range of gifts or shop online at mcilhenneys.com today.
All right, so the weather forecast, mostly dry at first with just isolated showers, some clear spells too. Those showers will feed in from the west through the day. They'll merge into longer spells of rain at times. Temperature 7 to 11 degrees. So, farmers, obviously, beef farmers are price takers. So the fact that you're seeing a steak in a restaurant or mince in a supermarket at a certain price, it doesn't mean the farmer is making an absolute fortune. Normally, the profit is made further down the line. I'm not saying they're not doing okay, but they're not producing cheap food. They're being regulated and legislated into producing the food that they are producing. Charlie's with me now. Hi, Charlie.
Yes, Craig. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I was just listening to you.
Yeah, go ahead, Charlie. Chat away.
No,
there.
I was just listening to you chatting to Jim there, and there's just 2 points I wanted to make there. Like you were saying about Irish farmers to produce cheaper food to compete with Brazil, but that's impossible. If the EU wanted to give us the hormones to produce, you could produce beef cheaper than that, but we're not allowed that, and probably rightly so. But at the same time, they can, bring in the beef that has the hormones in it, and we're at a disadvantage right away there. So we're.
But how can that beef be sold in the Irish market too? So you've got one beef that has, no antibiotics in it, no hormones in it, and of course the cost that's associated with producing meat at that quality. And then you've got this other stuff coming from a space that, according to recent investigations, there's little to no regulation. I mean, how can those two products sit side by side on the shelf? It's not fair, surely.
Yeah, it's completely not fair. Exactly. I mean, why is the question? That's the questions every farmer keeps asking. Why is it allowed? And I suppose it's back to the German, the big engines, diesel engines gone out. There's guys of other, they've other things they want to sell, and we're kind of the pawns that's being put off. But at the same time, the consumer is being hoodwinked over this as well, because you take the antibiotics there, and if I have a sick animal, I would have to go to the vet, and the vet comes out, assesses the animal, says it needs an antibiotic. It needs an antibiotic. The number of that animal is taken down. Okay, so I'm not allowed to let's say kill that animal for whatever 30 days or whatever the withdrawal period is, and that rightly so. But in Brazil they can buy antibiotics. They can buy antibiotics that we wouldn't even be allowed to use here off the counter. So there's nothing to stop a farmer in Brazil injecting an animal and killing it the next day. Now, the residues in that antibiotics are still in that beef, and that beef comes into Ireland. People are consuming it. There's the residues in it. People will get immune to that antibiotic, and we have no other line of defence. That's their last line of defence.
Just
like me as a father and a...
Yeah, I was going to ask... make that point.
But me as a father and a husband and a father, I don't want... my children or my wife, you go into hospital and you're sick, and if you are eating that meat and you're becoming immune to it, and then you are sick, it's no use to you, and you have no other line of defence, and that's where we're heading. If we go down that way, it's grand that these EU have these regulations, and they are there for a good reason, but then to import the stuff in, it just makes a farce of the whole thing.
Say TB, let's just take that one thing as an example. People will know what happens if a cow is found to have TB, the impact it can have on the herd, the movement of that herd. and potentially, the future of that herd. There's very, very lackadaisical approach to TB in Brazil, for an example. Yet we could be eating that beef.
That's another issue. Yeah. I mean, all of that's just complete non-regulation. I mean, we've been regulated, and you can argue we're regulated too much or whatever, but there's a reason for it, and fair enough. But give us a level playing field. That's all. That's all the farmers are asking for. Like the same issue even in grain, where the GM, we're not allowed to use GM. I mean, people would have more crops of GM, but we can import away at the GM crops. We're being farmed with a hand tied behind our back.
Well, who is the food for then? I mean, this is the thing that I don't understand, right? Why is there so many restrictions on genetically modified grain here? Or why, I'm not saying we should get rid of them, why are we so stringent in terms of, disease control, traceability and all that in the Irish meat market? Who is it for? Is it for us? Is it for our exports? And if it's so important, then why can we import meat that's not up to the same standard? So why are we taking all the initial measures if it really doesn't matter? Because a shelf can contain antibiotic and hormone-filled beef in one packet and this Irish beef at another, which probably will be 30-40% more expensive. What's the point of all the regulations if we have an unregulated sales market then, or what appears to be?
Yeah, it's daft when you say it like that, Greg. Because it is we're seen as the country that's squeaky clean, and we do everything 100%. We go over and above what we're supposed to be doing, and the EVU would even say we go over and above it, and at the same time, then no problem bringing in other stuff. There's no regulation at all.
Because
but I mean, I guess it's down to and I guess it's down to, I mean, food is a lot dear, meat is a lot dear, and I'm not saying farmers are doing well at the minute with the beef, but and that's why maybe they're pushing hard to get this stuff in. But there's a health and safety issue on that there as well. That's what I feel like.
Yeah,
that's my big issue.
And listen, I'm only looking on. This is not an opinion, but we're seeing a system whereby we're seeing fewer farmers producing because farmers are just saying there's no money in this, I'm out. And at the same time, parallel to that, we're seeing big deals for the importation of Brazilian beef. I don't think you have to be a conspiracy theorist to say, well, can't be a coincidence that these two events are happening on the same timeline, where we're seeing huge reductions in herds, and yet we're negotiating deals to import beef from the other side of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the reason why the beef has gone down so much is because, the last few years, there's been no money. The suckler farmer was being crucified, and you just can't switch it on and off, so the cows were killed, then beef went on, and then a couple of years later, then you see the shortage, and the shortage is here now because farmers weren't making money back then, and there was no point in it.
Yeah.
But you can't just switch it on now, and all of a sudden we're going to have a pile of beef next week. It's going to take a couple of years to bring that up again.
Right.
But that's down to us not be getting enough for beef back then. Now, like I say, they're getting enough now, and maybe there'll be more suckler cows getting them now, and maybe people will do more. But if they import this stuff, that's going to, all of a sudden, the price is going to drop again.
Then the factories then start saying, look, this is what we can pay. All right, Charlie, listen, thanks for your insight. It's greatly appreciated. We'll be back after the news.
How are things? How's the family? How are you? How can I help?
When it comes to supporting people living with dementia, it starts with asking how. Because how is a small word, but this social connection makes a big difference. So if you know someone affected by dementia, check in with them and learn more about how you can help build dementia-inclusive communities at understandtogether.ie from the HSC.
Are you feeling stressed, in pain, or in need of a reset? Imagine a place where gentle healing vibrations, light and sound gently wash over you, nurturing both your body and mind, melting away tension and easing pain. This is possible at Beyond Light Therapy, designed to support deep relaxation, renewal, and your body's natural ability to heal. People report a sense of calm, improved mood, mental clarity and renewed energy. At Beyond Light Therapy, where health begins, experience the first 60-unit energy enhancement system on the planet. Call us today to begin your journey.
The Private Security Authority is the government body responsible for regulating the private security industry. Every day, licensed security services protect billions of euros worth of goods and ensure the safety and security of thousands of people and businesses. When choosing a security service for your home or business, choose one licensed by the Private Security Authority. If you choose an unlicensed security provider, you could face prosecution. Visit psa-gov.ie for more information and a list of licensed security services.
Across Ireland, people are committed to securing the future of their rural communities. Our Rural Future is the government's policy that backs that commitment through investment and actions. The Department of Rural and Community Development and the Gaeltacht is now developing the next phase of our Rural Future and wants to hear your views on what matters most for rural Ireland. For more information or to share your views, go to gov.ie/consultations before December 12, 2025. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
McGowan Hearing, one of the longest established audiologists in the Northwest, now have weekly clinics in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonagh. Book your free hearing aid consultation at one of these clinics or with audiologist Darren McGowan in your own home. Call 07191 00208 or visit mcgowanhearing.com.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The Stormont Assembly has heard calls for observer status at EU level for political representatives in Northern Ireland. It's after 14 MEPs wrote to the President of the European Parliament seeking the status. Foyle MLA Ciara Ferguson raised the issue with First Minister Michelle O'Neill, saying the letter also noted that in the case of United Ireland, the North would rejoin the EU. In response, Michelle O'Neill said discussions on a possible United Ireland need to be held now, and EU observer status, she said, would help in that.
The letter also noted that in the event of Irish unity, the North would automatically rejoin the EU. Does the First Minister believe granting observer status would help us better plan and prepare for the future?
And I certainly think that the discussions and the preparations need to be had now in terms of constitutional change, and I think those discussions need to be had with an Irish government, with a British government, at an EU level. So I do think that the observer status for Northern representatives would certainly assist in terms of the planning and the preparation.
The government has confirmed the Christmas bonus will be paid out to 1.5 million social welfare recipients this week. €370 million in total will be distributed to those receiving long-term social welfare payments, including pensioners, carers and those with disabilities. With more, here's Kyle Butler.
The Christmas bonus will be paid alongside recipients' regular payments starting today. It's typically 100% of a person's usual weekly payments. Minister for Social Protection Dara Calleary says the payment will make a difference to households struggling this Christmas.
There's about 20 schemes in total for whom recipients will receive a double payment this year. This is a very expensive time of year, a very challenging time of year, and this is a payment that will ease that expense, that will ease that challenge.
The full list of qualifying payments for the Christmas bonus is available on gov.ie.
And that list also available on our website, highlandradio.com. A 31-year-old man arrested after a police officer sustained a serious hand injury in the Gallia Park area of Derry on Saturday has been charged to appear before Derry Magistrates Court. The man is charged with obstructing police, resisting police, disorderly behaviour and common assault. Other charges include criminal damage, assault occasioning actual bodily harm and non-fatal strangulation or asphyxiation. Police in Derry are appealing for witnesses and information following a report of criminal damage to a vehicle in the Fountain Street area on Thursday evening last. It follows reports of antisocial behaviour in the vicinity. With more, here's Ryan Brody.
Police say at around 7 o'clock on Thursday they received a report of a potential pre-arranged fight between a group of young males in the Carlisle Road area of the city. They went to the area, but no offences were identified. Then, at around 8:30 p.m, reports were received of antisocial behaviour relating to a crowd of youths in the Fountain Street area. A PSNI spokesperson says officers spoke to some of the young people, who then dispersed. A report was then received that a vehicle had been damaged as a result of the antisocial behaviour, with damage caused to the front windscreen and roof. Police are appealing to anyone who was in the area on Thursday between 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. and saw anything suspicious to contact them. They're particularly keen to hear from anyone who might have any CCTV, dashcam or any other footage.
The A5 remains closed between Newton Stewart and Omagh due to a road traffic collision on the Beltony Road. Police say they expect it to be closed for some time this morning. Diversions are in place via Drumquin and Barnescourt Road. People are being asked to use alternative routes where possible. Uisce Éireann says their efforts to safeguard water supplies for homes and businesses in West Donegal are continuing, with essential maintenance works taking place this week. Crews are carrying out reservoir cleaning works at Crawley Water Treatment Plant today. Tomorrow and Wednesday works will continue at reservoirs in Macaward, Mahary, Portnew and Rossbeg, with customers in those locations possibly experiencing some supply disruptions while the works are underway. Works will be carried out between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. And former county manager Michael McCloone, who passed away at the weekend, has been remembered as a pioneer who transformed Donegal County Council. Mr McCloone served as county manager from 1994 to 2010 and oversaw a number of groundbreaking initiatives, including the construction of public service centres in a number of towns. Councillor Kieran Brogan says that was part of a process that brought the council closer to the people.
He brought the council out closer to the people and brought all the relevant agencies with it as well. The vision and the plan that he had was huge, and in fairness to the elected members of Donegal County Council, they gave them the backing and the endorsement to do that. When you look at the vision and the plan that he had for the 5 area offices in Carndonagh, in Donegal, in Dunlow, in Milford and Letterkenny, it was about bringing the services closer to the people.
Looking at the weather forecast for today, mostly dry with isolated showers and some clear spells possible this morning. However, showers will feed in from the Atlantic as the day goes on. They'll merge into longer spells of rain at times this afternoon. Showers becoming less frequent later in the evening, with clear spells developing from the west. Top temperatures today 7 to 11 degrees Celsius with light to moderate southwesterly winds. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Check all the day's news on highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Monday morning, December 1st. The death has occurred of Michael McCloone Sr., Abbey Lane, Ballyshannon, reposing at his residence today and tomorrow from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. Removal on Wednesday from his residence at 10:15 a.m. to arrive at St Patrick's Church, Ballyshannon for Mass of the Resurrection at 11 o'clock, with a service of interment at Abbey Assaroe Cemetery. A one-way system will be in place during the wake, entrance by the Abbey Lane with exit to Rossnowla Road via the Abbey Mill Wheel. Family flowers only, donations in lieu if so desired to the Ballyshannon Community Hospital Patients Comfort Fund, care of Patrick McKenna Funeral Director or any family member. The death has occurred of Angela Blaney, née Shields, Rossnakill Fanid, County Donegal, reposing at her late residence in Rossnakill Fanid. Requiem Mass will be held in St Columba's Church Massmount at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only please, donations in lieu if desired to the Patient Comfort Fund Tammany Health Centre, care of any family member or Eamon Scott Funeral Director. Family time please from 10 p.m. and on the morning of the funeral. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
The best things in life are all heroes, no zeros. Take Santa and his reindeer. Sure, the big man gets all the headlines, but could he do it without Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner and Blitzen? Never. You need every single one of them, together, to deliver that Christmas magic. Just like Cadbury Heroes. 9 festive legends. The best groups are all heroes, no zeros, like Cadbury Heroes.
Very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. It's good to have you on board again for this Monday. It's the 1st of December. We do hope you are well. The lines remain open for you, as they always do, of course. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number. That's if you want to comment on anything we've been talking about, or you want to share your story, your experience, your positive experience, like we had from Lisa a little earlier on, whereby she's trying to track down a guardian angel in Alana. Right, a caller says, as a small business owner, it really annoys me when I hear farmers complaining and constantly looking for grants. If my business isn't working, my only option is to close the door. No one comes to my aid. Why is my business any different to a farmer's business? I don't know, really, but I'm thinking of, say, food security, for an example. I think it's important that we can produce our own food and have our own food. I suppose farmers and fishermen and what have you were sort of dragged into the EU, and that changed the playing field. If we were outside of the EU, perhaps maybe farming would be more sustainable, ironically, even though a lot of that money comes from the EU. That would just be my two guesses as to why. Farming as well, I suppose, there's a cultural importance to it as well. But maybe the caller's right. You know, I mean, businesses are under an awful lot of pressure, and every turnaround. I think today the Your Future phone lines open for businesses as they sort of grapple with that extra cost to provide a pension for their employees. And then, you know, you've got extended entitlements and you've got the minimum wage going up, and it's, you know, it's good if you're one of those workers, but if you're a business owner, you know, how much more can you take heading into what's probably going to be a tough couple of months? So I see it from all sides. 086 60 25,000 if you've any further insight or can help me understand or formulate a little bit better. Is it possible that the disease blue tongue is in Northern Ireland and it was deliberate so as to give an excuse to bring in Brazilian beef? I don't think that would make sense, to be honest with you, but staying on that issue, foreign meat is taken into the country, stored in an Irish abattoir 3 or 4 days, then it's cut up, repackaged with Irish labels and sold as Irish meat. Charlie explained the quality situation very well. Another, farmers are happy to be pro-EU when it comes to receiving the farmers' payments every year. They call it the dole, but that's antagonistic. But listen, that's the word he used. The farmers' dole every year from the EU, in many cases to incentivise these farmers to reduce their farming activities because of climate change. Now they cry when Brazil steps up to the plate to fill the gap that Irish farmers have been incentivised by the EU to create. A caller says the DCC can't collect rubbish, but they'll sit on their backsides debating and pontificating on the Middle East. Plonkers, that's Dublin County Council, I presume, though DCC is also the same as Donegal. Here's some good news, by the way. Greg, I had a wonderful day on Saturday in Letterkenny shopping. I spent 6 hours shopping and eating, no issue with parking, and had a great day. And I've said that time and again on the programme. A lot of the complaints people have, it's not about getting into shops, it's about getting in and out of the blooming town. But when you're in there, it's well laid out, plenty of parking, etc. So thank you for that. On the defective block scheme, my husband registered to do the contract of our house. It's almost finished, and we should have enough money to finish it. It just shows how much the contractors are getting, thousands upon thousands of euro. They need to stop, or this needs to stop. The government needs to step in and put an end to contractors charging whatever figure they want. If it wasn't for them, there'd be no problem with the scheme, and people could get on with their homes and their lives. It's ridiculous. Greed is a terrible thing. So they've been able to take out the profits, I suppose. I mean, maybe the difference between what you're saving and the price of a contractor is their profits. I don't know. What do you think? Other people have a better insight into this, I'm sure, than I have. And an act of kindness to take us into the break. I was up at the breast check clinic this week. There is practically no parking. I got a tight space between cars and struggled to reverse out. Two lovely nurses, Mairead and someone who wasn't Irish, helped me out. Mairead got into the car and reversed it out for me. I just want to highlight some good. Okay, listen, we love good. Keep it coming. All right, back after the break.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 1st of December. You're playing on the green sheet for the daily prize of €1,200. The reference number is S1. It's game number 49. The numbers are 30, 24, 48, 46, 55, 75, 69, 7, 60, and finally 85. Phone your claim to 910-4833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Pandora's Black Friday promotion is here. Save up to 30% on charms and jewellery, plus daily deals, and get an early start to your holiday gift shopping. But hurry, this offer won't be around for long. Offer ends 1st of December. Available in participating stores and online at pandora.net while stocks last. Terms and exclusions apply.
It's not Christmas without fighting over tangled lights and making up while putting the star on top. Without hearing about fairy tales in New York, hearing there's one for everyone in the audience, or hearing Dad say, "That's it for another year." It's not Christmas without him, or her, or them, without cracking open the good biscuits. The tin of Jacobs that's supposed to be kept for the visitors, but is best shared with those you love. Jacobs, at the heart of every Irish Christmas.
Find all your favourite brands this season at Evolve Clothing. From Jack & Jones and Diesel to Levi's and more, we've got your perfect holiday style ready and waiting. Visit us at Letterkenny Retail Park and enjoy 1,800 free parking spaces.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
You're very welcome back to the programme. Now, we learnt at the weekend of the passing of former Donegal County Manager Michael McClune. John McLaughlin is the Chief Executive Officer of Donegal County Council and joins me now. And good morning, John, and I'm sure me and you can join in expressing our sympathies to Michael's family and friends and former colleagues.
Yeah. Good morning, Greg. Yeah, and I suppose some sadness I'm on here today, but I want to pay tribute to Michael McClune, absolutely. And first of all, condolences to his wife, Imelda, and 3 boys and 1 daughter. And again, to all of our staff and councillors who knew Michael over many years. Certainly was a visionary in the council. I joined myself now. I was just telling Carrie, I started in the council in 1999. But I did really meet Michael McClune about 2001, where I became Director of Service 2 years later, and so I knew him then all the way up until since then. So it was a time of what was termed better local government, a lot of transformation in Donegal, indeed across the country. Michael led that for Donegal, and indeed a lot of effects in other counties.
Yeah, and part of that too would have been the establishment of public services centres. That was a big piece of work.
Yeah, that's what transformed, I suppose, as part of the better local government, bringing the local government to the people. So as you know, we built the public service centres throughout the county and all the what is termed areas then, electoral areas, now municipal districts. So a massive piece of work there, and a great credit to Michael McClune for doing that, and doing it at a time when money wasn't that plentiful either. So it took a lot of vision and I suppose determination to make that happen in those years, and a lot of people have benefited from that since.
And it was, during his spell, quite a time of transition. You talked about the establishment of those centres, etc. too, but also, you know, we saw the likes of the closure of the Fruit of the Looms, Donegal factories, and I suppose maybe were we at a crossroads there in terms of where we were coming from and where we were going?
Well, I think, yeah, when history, when it looks back, they'll see that as a transition in Irish society and life, that the manufacturing jobs where we were no longer, I suppose, quite competitive in that. And Fruit of the Loom in my own part of the world, and Shonia, where they were centred. A great employer for a number of years, and then they gradually closed down. And Michael McClune was asked to lead the government-led task force at that time, to see what could be done, what was needed to transition Donegal, I suppose, to the modern economy. And I suppose a lot of credit due to him, what we see today in Donegal, particularly if you go to the business park in Letterkenny and so on, the type of jobs and the type of work we have now are on a par with anywhere in the world.
Yeah, because obviously, you know, at that time, I presume, you know, the council relies to a great extent, not exclusively on income from businesses and successful businesses and businesses with good turnover. And that was a time whereby, you know, maybe those traditional sources were falling by the wayside, but the bills still have to be met. Investment still has to happen in the county, and you have to figure out, you know, how the county will prosper in a different direction.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Greg. There's a need to balance all forms of income, and you're absolutely right. The strong part is from their own local businesses and the commercial rates and what our own people do and bring to the county. And then that's matched, I suppose, with the drive to get other government funding and indeed sometimes loans, and to put it all together to get a package that lifts the whole county.
Of course, working closely from 2001 with Michael, obviously he's a work colleague, but invariably, I presume, he became a friend too.
Yeah, no, I have great time for Michael McClune. It's I don't think any of us could meet somebody that's more committed and hard working. But I remember, and I still remember, and I mention this often to people in my early days, the long meetings he had with staff as part of the reform process, and maybe start at 9 o'clock in the morning and run to 8 p.m. at night. And what stood out was he was just as interested in the last speaker on that day as the first, and really committed to it, and great energy. And we've seen that on other parts he did for the blood transfusion, HSE, and so on. And massive working with councillors, and also with unions at a time of great change to bring in those reforms, and I suppose to get the buy-in and the consensus. But he was a kind-hearted man deep down, and he meant well for people, and he really, I think, enjoyed lifting the earning power of everyone in the county, and the better outlook for people and their children and their families.
Yeah, obviously his passing is sad, and as you say, we extend our sympathies to his wife Imelda, sons Michael, David, Philip, and daughter Caroline, and the extended family and friends as well. And of course, whilst it is very sad to be talking of someone's passing, I think if I could go and leave a legacy of positive impact on my home county like he has, I would rest easy, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a massive legacy, and most people will be saying that over the next few days. I'm absolutely certain of that. I do remember the time, I can't remember the year now, we opened the Bundoran Ballyshannon bypass in his own backyard, and I recall too the challenge we had getting that through the consenting process, and deeply committed to that himself. And he wasn't just for Ballyshannon by no means, but it's great to see him do that in his own backyard. And then we had a special lighting scheme put in that bridge, and him and his wife got to switch on the lights on it, which is a nice moment for him as well, after, I suppose, working all around the country for many years, and then you're back in your own hometown switching on, which is a major achievement, the bridge over the Erne there, and it was nice for him to do that.
I didn't get to chat to him much. Did he have that Ballyshannon wit, or was he a more serious character?
Well, that's news to me. There is such a thing.
Are you joking, John? You've been in the show too long, my friend.
Well, yes, yeah. No, he had a certainly wit to him, and a very, 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 very bright and quick and able, but very considered as well. He would know when to use the wit and when it was appropriate, when to hold back.
Yeah.
So
no, we had a young girl from Ballyshannon in here last week that was very successful in the Garda Youth Awards, and if I didn't know where she was from, I would instantly have known where she was from.
Very good.
If that makes
sense. Yeah, no,
so,
I guess I had that then. Yeah.
Maybe
no,
I'm closer. I'm closer to Ballyshannon maybe than you. Okay. Right again. Thanks for. Unless there's anything, John, you want to add.
No, just again express our condolences to the family and all the wider circle as well, and his 4 children and grandchildren indeed, and it'll be sad for them, but there's a proud and an element to that as well when you realise what somebody's achieved over all those years.
Yeah,
and he was a good friend to us in the council, and always had the best intentions for the wider public.
I didn't realise he was such an accomplished Gaelic footballer either. Not surprising, obviously, he played for Rua, but this is the bit I didn't know, that he was named on the Donegal team of the Millennium at wing forward. Wow. That's
and I think all that comes out now. I think what happened, he got an injury early on in his 20s, and that probably brought an end to it. And then he was coaching and managing and so on then. But absolutely accomplished. And I had a great, when we talk about those days, his eyes would light up, the achievements, that are on the pitch. But no, we express our condolences. And thank you, Greg, for inviting me on.
Thanks for accepting the invite. Look after yourself. Good. Thanks very much indeed. That's the current CEO of Donegal County Council, John McLaughlin, remembering his former colleague and friend, former county manager, as it referred to then, of course, Michael McClune, who you may or may not be aware was CEO of Beaumont Hospital in Dublin. And later also was appointed to the board of the HSE, that by the then Health Minister, Micheál Martin. So presumably that was around the time of the smoking ban and what have you as well. And also served on the board of the Blood Transfusion Service and will be laid to rest in his native Ballyshannon on Wednesday. Now, we are joined on the programme now by Joe Sweeney, who's chair of the Donegal IFA. Joe, and it's just been kind of like a farming morning. We were speaking to people earlier on about the Mercer Corps deal, but also to all eyes on Blue Tongue and an outbreak. I don't know if it can be called an outbreak. 2 cases certainly have been identified. Joe, how worrying is this for the farming community at this point?
Yeah, it's a difficult morning, Greg. From the weekend, where the word came out that there was a possible 2 cases in County Down, it's probably like death. We know it will happen and it could happen, and hoped it won't happen, but it has happened now, and there's 2 cases confirmed on the island of Ireland. It's going to have an effect unless it's controlled. Probably the thing that's probably in the favour of it is it's spread by a midge. It has been in England this last 18 months. It was sort of controlled, and we hoped against hope that we wouldn't see it here. And we thought we got away with it for the time being, because the most times it spreads is between April and November, because the temperature's above 12 degrees. I know the weather's been mild, but we thought at the stage now it was tailing off, that it might not happen, and next year. But it's confirmed now, so the thing is now we have to try and get it controlled. It has to be controlled. There has been control measures in place, not allowing cattle from England in to Ireland. Or from the continent, for that matter of fact, because it's been there for a good few number of years. But it's happened now, so...
So do we know, is it just 2 questions, Joe? We'll have more questions, but 2 questions at the moment. Is it only transmissible via midge?
No. Well, yes, it is transmissible only by midge. It seems to be that it's a biting midge that would bite the animals or live on the animals, and that's what...
So we're an advantage then, I presume, that we're sort of... you're probably praying for the cold now in December. That's an advantage. If this was May or June or July or August, and even with a 20-kilometre zone in place, winds can carry these creatures and such. So it's worked to our advantage that if we were going to see it, we're seeing it now.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're hoping that that's the case. Now I know there's an export on livestock, but we still don't know enough to say that the midge could come in meal or straw, or there's imports other stuff. We just don't know. But it's predominantly the midge, and if it was to happen, it's probably as best time as it could. But there's never a good time.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. Because I was going to ask you about where this was likely to have come from, but it makes perfect sense that potentially it could have come through in which has a warm environment internally, at least, food or hay or whatever might have been transported in here.
Yeah, and it was picked up in the factory by the vets, so it's probably, it might have been on the farm earlier, but no one picked it up, or it wasn't picked up until the 2 animals were actually slaughtered. Okay. So we just don't know the whole details there. But just for the farmers, it's a notifiable disease now, which is all new to them. So if they see anything that resembles it, they'll have to notify their local vets or the DVO or whatever straight away. There's no point in burning that.
No, you can't do that. No. One question, because it'll be picked up somewhere or other, and the damage could be done if you don't get it quick. One other question, sorry. When we talk about transmissibility, is it herd to herd by the biting midge? In other words, if one animal comes in contact with another animal, can it spread that way as well?
That I'm not sure. I take it it might be because when there's they don't want no imports or of animals, or the 20 kilometre, like the midge. 20 kilometres not much good to the midge, so it has to be that it has to be that it is transmissible once it's there.
All right. Okay, listen, thank you very much indeed for that, Joe. Appreciate your time. Joe Sweeney there, chair of the Donegal IFA. So blue tongue is transmitted, as we just heard, by biting midges that infect animals like sheep, cattle and goats when they feed on the blood. The virus is not spread directly from animal to animal, but can also be transmitted to unborn offspring in utero, when they're pregnant, effectively. The midges are most active in warmer months. So it's transmissible through the biting, but also from cow to calf, so to speak. So that's it. Okay, so it should be manageable, hopefully, especially at this time of year. That's what you would hope, isn't it? Right, 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. You can give us a call too on 07491 25,000. We appreciate every contact that we get in, trust me. All right, back with our next guest after these messages.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Bring home chef quality food this Christmas with Dunnes Stores Simply Better. Entertain in style with Irish farmhouse and continental cheeses, served alongside Italian and Spanish charcuterie meats. And there's plenty to share with Black Tiger tempura prawns or our handmade dips like our new Hot Honey Ranch. And you can save more with your 10 off 50 voucher. Dunnes Stores. Make Christmas simply better. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher could be used in next grocery shop.
The Three Amigos, Jimmy Buckley, Robert Mazzell and Patrick Feeney are back on tour. This award-winning show is full of laughter, music and song. See The Three Amigos live. Clonry Hotel, Letterkenny, Monday, January 26th. Tickets price $39.50, now on sale at hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie, where extra charges may apply. The Three Amigos live. This show is not to be missed.
The wait is almost over. The brand new O'Neill's Donegal GAA home jersey launches this Thursday, December the 4th at Brian McCormick Sports. Be the first to wear the colours. Be ready for the new season. Available at Brian McCormick Sports in-store and online from this Thursday the 4th.
Across Ireland, people are committed to securing the future of their rural communities. Our Rural Future is the government's policy that backs that commitment through investment and actions. The Department of Rural and Community Development and the Gaeltacht is now developing the next phase of our rural future and wants to hear your views on what matters most for rural Ireland. For more information or to share your views, go to gov.ie/consultations before December 12th, 2025. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Imagine starting a global career while staying here in Donegal. At TCS Letterkenny, we're hiring IT help desk professionals. Grow and develop your skills every day on projects that make a real impact worldwide. Join us so you can thrive professionally and personally in a supportive local team. Live locally, work globally. Apply today at tcscareers.ie.
Employers, give every employee up to €1,500 tax-free with Clever Cards. Clever Cards digital MasterCards can be used anywhere, online and in-store using Apple and Google Pay. Give your employees the freedom to spend their rewards where they want. Order online from clevercards.com. Clever Cards MasterCards are issued by Monovate pursuant to license from MasterCard International and certified by Apple Pay and Google Pay. Clever Cards is an appointed distributor of Monovate, an e-money institution authorised and regulated by the Bank of Lithuania, and the business is regulated for conduct of business purposes by the Central Bank of Ireland. E-money accessed with Clever Cards MasterCards are safeguarded and protected under EU e-money regulations. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the programme. I have in studio with me Rosa Glacken, who's Northwestern Regional President of St. Vincent de Paul. Rosa, thank you so much for joining me. How are you keeping?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for having me, Greg, and good morning to your listeners.
Yes, and thanks for joining us, and thanks for the work that you put in, Rosa, all year round. We speak to you a couple of times a year, and of course, as we approach Christmas, that's one of those times whereby the St. Vincent de Paul starts to prepare for a very busy time. And is this going to be as busy as any years that have gone before it?
Absolutely, Greg. You might have seen our latest press release where in headquarters are saying they're quite worried about the rise in calls into us. Worried in the sense that there are so many more people who are struggling. and there doesn't seem to be any light at the end of the tunnel for them. So yes, it is going to be very, very busy and very concerning. Well, as you know, the cost of living is increasing all the time. Particularly, you hear people talking about their grocery weekly shopping is going up and up. Cost of fuel for their car and fuel for the home, and quite a lot of concern over people with arrears for their electricity. We're seeing a lot of that. You remember the last two budgets, we had the help with the electricity. That was great while it was there, but unfortunately it didn't come this time round.
Yeah, I struggle with that, to be honest with you, because, you know, for those people who didn't necessarily need them or who could get by, maybe the universal credits weren't that important, or they prefer them this year, but they'll survive. The people that are most likely to contact St. Vincent de Paul very much will be without this year. And that's why I just wish we had more targeted, consistent measures, because these are the same people that are being told constantly that we live in one of the fastest growing economies in the world, yet the number of people in arrears or in poverty is growing. And you're coming up to that expensive time of the year. Maybe you've just stumbled through getting the kids back to school, and to do that, you haven't paid your electricity bill or what have you. And listen, I'm going to be honest, I've been in this situation, and I was for really quite some time, and it's horrible. It really is horrible. You feel so isolated, alone, and worried.
Very much.
Back in the day too, I remember signing post-dated checks on a Tuesday, praying that the local shop didn't bank till Thursday.
Yeah.
But what happened then, when the post-dated check came out on Friday, that was me banjacks for another week, and on it goes, and very quickly you find yourself falling into debt.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of a typical situation. These aren't people living excessive lives, Rosa. They're just trying to live.
Oh, that's very true, and that really sums up the way I would see it as well. And you often hear me speaking about people who are working, doing their level best, as you say, paying the bills, getting by. There just is nothing left over for any emergency. And the emergency then could be the washing machine, the car, throws them completely. And then sometimes these people feel they shouldn't come to us. And we're very, very much pleading with them. If you're working, that doesn't matter to us. It's how you're fixed and how you're coping. And the stress that it causes is not good for people's mental health as well. So I'd be very concerned for people in that situation, and we would plead with them. Please contact us. We can help. But do it sooner rather than later, because we're now preparing. We're getting the calls in. The lists are being prepared. And, we're getting ready to go out in early December. So do get in touch if you're in that situation or you feel you won't be able to manage. And everybody wants to do the best they can for their family at this time of the year. But there are also people who may be living alone, and they are also struggling. Just as you say, rents are going up and all the rest.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, and I hope it's still not the case, but I know, it's cold at the moment. It's 4 or 5 degrees, and it feels colder. And I know there's probably older people listening, waiting hard potentially on the Christmas bonus this weekend, who are they're probably sitting in the house with a coat on and gloves on, and they're thinking, I'm going to put the heating on at 6 this evening so it's warm going to bed.
Yes.
That's the lived reality. Yet again, I'm sorry, we're constantly being told that there's no rainy day and that this country is incredibly prosperous. It's important to recognise too, Rosa, that there is zero shame in seeking help. A lot of the people, I'm sure, that might contact St. Vincent de Paul have donated in the past or may donate into the future. This is helping people in this moment in time.
Absolutely. And we do see that people who were donors, I can't go to St. Vincent de Paul now, I was a donor. Please come to us. We plead with people. Absolutely come to us. And as you say, people are struggling with the weather. It has been extremely cold. I definitely agree with you. And nobody should be cold in this, as you say, booming economy. But there are people out there struggling and worrying about their heat and their bills and so on. And we can help. We can make a difference, and we're very glad to do that. but they must contact us.
And in older homes too, I have a room where I know the temperature inside the room, right? If the heating's not on, like if it's 7 degrees outside, that room's 4 or 5 degrees. It's quite strange. Now, obviously, in modern houses, blah, 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 but a lot of the people we're talking about aren't. They're in old brick houses, and it's astonishing sometimes that the internal temperature can be colder than the external temperature. So I want to remind people again that it's okay to get a little bit of help. But what about people that want to continue to support St. Vincent de Paul, right? Because sometimes people might have some extra money or might want to do something nice for someone for Christmas. So people too can donate to St. Vincent de Paul and pay it forward that way, I presume.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, people are extremely generous. Businesses, schools, individuals are very, very generous at Christmas. And we have our annual appeal next weekend, our church gate collection. And as well as that, people should remember we have our shops who are very, very helpful to us. We're highly dependent on them indeed. So anybody bringing in goods to our shops, that's supporting us in a very, very real way also. So we're very, very grateful to everybody who supports us. They are generous.
How do people get in contact with St. Vincent de Paul?
If they know the number for their local conference, there would be conferences looking after each area around the county. If they know that number, get in touch that way. If they wish, they can go online and click on the Northwest and send in a request, and that'll be bounced back to whichever area it applies to, and it's dealt with as quickly as possible. And just to remind people, it's confidential. We do meet with them confidentially, and we're very sympathetic, non-judgmental, and the sooner they get in touch, the better.
And you touched on this a little earlier on, and it's something that should really be factored in this conversation. It's the pressure money worries puts on families. Be it a single parent wondering how they can make Christmas, right, to the pressure it can put on a relationship. I don't think this very much puts pressure on a relationship more than money worries. Now, we have our fair share of challenges that can test us at times in this county between DCB, etc. But, you know, the mental impact on people struggling is underreported, I think, Rosa.
Very much so. And I personally have seen an increase in people whose mental health has been challenged, not only by the stress of money worries and so on, but day-to-day living and so on. And there isn't great. The services do their level best, but they are very stretched, and some of the living conditions of those people, you know, where they can't afford rent for better accommodation. As you know, rent is rising all the time. Some of the places they're living in would not help their mental health.
And some people with pay-as-you-go meters, it's probably been whistling all weekend and clicked off this morning too. And you have to try and find the money for that. It's
we
so
do.
tight.
We do give vouchers, by the way, towards electricity to help with electricity bills, and that has been a great innovation. So you know they can use those vouchers to take money off their bill, but sometimes it's beginning to get out of hand altogether, which is very, very stressful. So we're very sympathetic in that situation.
Oh, you could find yourself an €800-900 of electricity arrears very, very,
very quickly.
There's just no doubt about that. And then you have to start servicing that debt. I just wish, and this is more hopeful than a reality, I just wish we had a setup, and this is not criticism of any political party. I'm not interested in that. If we had a setup whereby the wealth of this country could help to address this. I mean, this is going to be St. Vincent de Paul's busiest year ever, potentially, in a country, again, that claims to be one of the fastest and wealthiest economies. We really need to connect some of that wealth to the people that need it. How we do it, Rosa, I don't know. It's above my pay scale, but it's a very difficult society to be part of when you see that happening.
Well, we do have a group in our headquarters who lobby government on a regular basis. And for instance, we were successful, for instance, in getting free school books, which we'd lobbied for years. And the families on low income were finally given the fuel allowance. But as you say, a lot more needs to be done. And we're constantly looking at, what is required to get people up out of that poverty level. And budget after budget, we plead with them, more is needed. We do our best.
But the problem is, budget after budget, you look at the independent analysis of it, and it's the higher income earners that seem to benefit every time.
Yes.
The working poor don't, very rarely, and the poor don't. A caller says, I have a friend who is so close to the breadline that she won't put on the heat simply because she can't afford it. The house is freezing. That person needs to reach out to St. Vincent de Paul.
Absolutely, immediately, and we will help as quickly as possible. Nobody should be as cold as that. That's dreadful.
I know people are working and simply don't want to spend money and hence live in unnecessarily freezing conditions. Listen, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but that's the exception, not the rule. We're talking here about people that, unless you've been in that situation where you are skint. Right, so, you have €20. Do you buy bread, milk and butter, or do you buy nappies or feminine hygiene products? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people literally making that decision. Do you put that €10 in your car, or do you get a plastic tank and put €10 of home heating oil and then tip it into your oil tank? There's a lot of people that are living like that.
Absolutely,
not people who were tight in inverted commas and are banking the money rather than putting heating on. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, right? I know a few of those people too, right? But that's not who we're talking about today.
No.
The key message is, if you can benefit from St. Vincent de Paul, if you are those people that we're talking of, St. Vincent de Paul is there for you. It's non-judgmental. Don't feel bad. Maybe you've donated in the past, maybe you can into the future. But we are trying to deal with essential groceries price increases of 55 cents per litre, €80 in home heating oil, the price of petrol and diesel. We've become accustomed to it now being 180 in some petrol stations, just constantly 180. We were crapping ourselves, pardon the language, a couple of years ago because it was pushing towards 2. Now we just accept it. And anyway, okay. And look after yourself too, because the stress of this, Rosa, people need to sort of get a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and you can provide that.
Absolutely. Do reach out to us, and we will do our level best. We do respond to everybody who makes contact. And
right. And dig deep. Dig deep for the annual fundraiser next week, because that money goes directly to helping people.
Yes, indeed.
Do you take cards at Mass now?
Pardon me?
Can you tap it at
at some areas? It's very hard
cash to be on the safe side. Okay, so bring an extra little bit of cash. Yes. Some for the plate and some for St. Vincent de Paul. Then
that's it.
And get into your local St. Vincent de Paul shop. It's a fantastic means of raising money, and buy your stuff there or donate good stuff as well. So in other words, there's loads of ways you can help, even if you don't necessarily have an excess of cash yourself.
For sure, yes.
Anything else you want to add, Rosa, or if we touched on most of it there?
I think we've covered most everything, and just again to get that message out, contact us sooner rather than later, and don't be ashamed to do so. We're delighted when people contact us.
And I know that because you are the same as your colleagues, and you're only in the business of helping people.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, listen, thanks very much, Rosa. Keep up the great work you and the teams do. A lot of it's unheralded, but the people who benefit know what you do, and keep on giving if you can as well. Rosa Glacken, Northwest Regional President of St. Vincent de Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Is mission Dr. Colm Henry príomhíofa clinicúil in HSE. Fláthar tan fluig scapu go forlahan sa phobal. Higleis an flu bheith na cúiste broiste chrumcúiseach do golóir daoine. Níl si roháil vaccíne áil chun tú féin agus a daoine mór himpeall orta chosint. Chun a aileach go dtí na vaccíne ultartich, tar chuirt ar hsc.ie nó lóra do gachtar nó cogasó ran fáilte coniu. Gur maigah ilig ón HSE.
Looking for a nearly new 2025 model without the new car price? At iMotors, our demo and nearly new cars have little to no mileage, and you'll save thousands versus the new price. Fantastic cars, fantastic savings. Visit imotors.ie or drop by today and drive away a deal you'll love. iMotors, fearless generation.
Maybe you're walking home with a guy you really like after a night in the college bar. Or maybe you and another fella are heading back to his in a taxi after meeting in a club. Or perhaps you've gone home with someone after a really great fourth date. There are lots of times and places where we need to say what we want and what we don't want. Whatever the moment, have the consent conversation.
A message from Cuan, a Government of Ireland agency.
Millionaire Raffle from the National Lottery is back. There's 1 millionaire guaranteed and over €6.3 million in cash prizes to be won. The draw is on New Year's Eve and tickets are limited to 600,000. Have you got yours? The National Lottery. It could be you. Gift responsibly.
Derek Ryan returns to the Millennium Forum Derry on Saturday, 7th of February, with his brand new 2026 concert tour. Special guests Callum McPhail and Dominic Kerwin. That's Derek Ryan live in the Millennium Forum Derry on Saturday, the 7th of February. Tickets on sale now from the Millennium Forum box office and DerekRyanMusic.com.
Monster Bingo every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel. €3,300 must go with €1,000 on the last page. Doors open 7:30. Bingo starts at 8:30. That's Monster Bingo this and every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Discover Christmas gift ideas for everyone on your list, from trending beauty to memorable Secret Santa gifts. Visit us in Ballybuffet to explore our extensive range of gifts or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
Now, as we head into the afternoon, showers will feed in from the Atlantic through the day, and those will merge into longer spells of rain at times. And the showers will become less frequent, though, later in the evening, with clear spells developing from the west. Highest temperatures 7 to 11 degrees. Temperatures could dip between 1 and 5 degrees overnight. Right, now, reading recently that the GAA will not be giving consideration to paying inter-county managers in the short term. The Amateur Status Review Committee has completed its report and will present its findings to the Central Council. The committee, chaired by Professor David Hassan, has stopped short of recommendations that inter-county team managers should be in receipt of remuneration, and consequently there'll be no such motion to Congress in 2026. Brendan Devaney's the presenter of the DL debate and hopefully has a view on it, or it'll be a short interview. Brendan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a toughie, this, isn't it? I mean, can you break it down for me? Inter-county managers are rewarded for their efforts, right? Would we not be bringing what might be, not under the table, because that sounds like there's something dodgy going on, but having an adult conversation, a reality conversation?
Yeah, obviously the GA do recognise that the payments are going on. They know they are, because it'd be foolish not to do it now. Obviously this goes right on to club management as well. So again, at its heart, this amateur organisation is trying to keep hold of its values, because you've got the haves and have-nots. So to kind of reconcile with that is very difficult for the broad membership to agree to it. I mean, there was a recent review where they considered, Jarlath Burns himself put forward a possible 20k payment for managers, but there were so many divisions and people not agreeing with that, and what do you do? And Jack O'Connor, the Kerry manager, has come out saying that you can't be paying managers, players in and be looking for money, and you have all this kind of roll-on effect. Where does it stop? Where does it end? But it's a really, I don't know how you can come to a conclusion on it, because there are always going to be counties where football is loved more than other, and businessmen and different people are willing to put in money, and if you're a top manager and people want you enough, they're going to pay for it. And the fact that people think that it's just expenses now is, I think the GA has obviously shown that isn't the case. But to think that these managers are full time, that's what they are. That's their job basically. So they need to be compensated for that.
I'm not saying anything dodgy is going on, but I think this is going to take one big revenue case to blow this wide open.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a lot of question marks out there about where exactly the money comes from and how is it channeled through. Because as it stands yet from, say, your county board level, there is expenses paid, and that's as far as that goes. Any other money comes from other places. And listen, everybody knows it's going on, but I suppose the people that are putting in the money are happy enough to do it, and the managers are getting paid, and that's the world we're in at the minute. Because of the nature of it, it has left a kind of wee bit, as you said, it is an under the table payment that's going on. So it's very hard to quantify what that is now. And I suppose that leaves a lot of question marks for people in terms of how much has been paid, where's it coming from, and then of course, as you said, if revenue get involved, that's another story.
Yeah, and I'm sure everyone keeps the books in order. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't even know. I mean, if you're getting a salary, but it's not a salary, I don't know. It sounds complicated. And this €20,000 that was floated, sure, that wouldn't butter the parsnips either. I presume for the big guys, it's much more than that.
Yeah, listen, you often hear about figures out there, and I've heard of a few fairly credible ones, and it's big money. Like, you hear it a lot out there, particularly with the top managers. And because when a few of them have even crossed over into club, you've heard in from people that you would know are in the clubs that what it's been paid, and it isn't well above what your normal salary would be. But I suppose because you see it comes from a fund. So if you have big business out there, it's probably not a lot to them.
See, the way I kind of view it, though, Brendan, is, and people often don't like it, but it might be more palatable in the GEA. Say, for instance, the big charities. They've all got people that, or not all of them, but the majority of them have people that are on massive money, 250k a year or what have you. And these are charities where lots of people do work for free and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so I'm not saying it's the same, but there is a bit of a precedent there where you can have some people within an organisation paid for their full-time commitment, which it would be, and then still sort of retain an amateur sort of player pool. Or do you think that if there were official payments to managers, then it would be inevitable then that we start talking about the payment of players?
I don't think players really line up with stuff like that, Greg. I think for a player, still as it is now that might change over time. It's such an allure. It's such a great thing. They play for your club, and then if you're on a big county, for example, they represent your county, and it does have effects in other ways. If you, for a lot of people around employment and maybe the type of business they get into or the work that they do, it does have benefits, and there is. Our own lads were recently in Mexico on stuff which would be maybe a once in a lifetime holiday for a lot of people, but they'll get that a lot of years. So there is benefits in there. I think when it comes to likes of charities and that, if you have administrative staff, the same as the GA, they obviously need paid. And if you have someone who's a very good, say, CEO of a charity, then their worth is in the worth of the money they're bringing into charity. Otherwise, they wouldn't be paid. And I know for some people thinking, well, it's a charity, blah, blah, blah. But if you want good people that's going to actually generate more money for the charity, you need that. I think in this term, because we don't know what's been paid and because different counties are willing to pay a lot more than others because there's money in them, it probably has the GA in a very awkward position around a lot of things because, again, Greg, you're back to the haves and have-nots.
Yeah, but your ability, the problem is, even if it doesn't happen, but it does, your ability to gather money together to fund a manager and his team and even the training regime or whatever, and maybe some of that is fine and goes through official expenses and all. Like, you do start creating a two-tier. Who's best at gathering up money? Who's best at distributing that money versus, how does a Leitrim compete with that and try and draw a manager to get them out of wherever they're at?
Yeah. So you have a few factors, you see, Greg, and that's why this is such a deep subject, because you have the population of the county, are they a football, are they a hurling, what else is going on in the county? Like in Donegal, we have a lot of soccer, with people in the rally, with many, many different things. So you've got, say, a certain degree of people that are into the GAA, let's say, and then you've got the will that's behind that in terms of population and the amount of business people that are going to get involved. So and that goes up and down. If you look at it, probably when Jim comes on now, there's a big will comes on behind that in terms of everybody wants involved. Maybe not so much the year before when he was there. So it's very up and down, Rick. It's kind of hard to put a finger on. The money isn't always there from all the people. So it's such a mixed bag. That's why it's a bit of a nightmare.
And the right manager brings
Greg,
in.
But as you said, Greg, the problem is that one of the best things about the GA is that, listen, the organisation, it's made up of the people, and you always try and bring up everybody you can. Now, of course, some counties have less population and this and that, which is, again, nobody's fault, but you need to promote it as much as you can.
Okay.
So if the top counties now are able to pay the top managers more to come in, it's another thing that's going to, as you said,
But
create
you go
that
down to
divide.
club level then this weekend. We had a club from a village of 38 odd houses progressing in the Ulster Championship. That's what happens when the playing field's somewhat levelled. All right, Brendan,
Newbridge.
thanks. Yeah,
Very
Newbridge, good man. Thank you for that.
Cheers,
I
man.
knew they made Crystal. I just wasn't sure whether it was. Listen, good luck. Take care of yourself, Brendan Devaney there.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
For the perfect gift this Christmas, visit Tinney's Toys in Letterkenny, where you'll find top quality toys at great prices. From Care Bears to Lego, Beyblades to Brooder toys, and our amazing range of kids' electric ride-on cars, Tinney's Toys has something for every wish list. Visit us in store at Leck Road, Letterkenny, or shop the entire range online at tinneys.toys.com. Tinney's Toys, much more than just farm toys.
Kira?
Yeah?
Is that a cow in the garden?
Oh, it's a bull.
What?
Well, you said you wanted to grab one by the horns.
But not an actual bull. I just meant I want to make the most of my PRSI at Specsavers.
Oh.
Get a free eye test and a pair of glasses from our €70 range through your PRSI. Book at specsavers.ie with your PPS number and we'll check you're eligible. After all, you've earned it. Terms and conditions apply.
Scaring the milkman now, look.
Across the world, millions of children are going to bed hungry, their parents promising food that may not come, just so they can fall asleep. It's a heartbreaking reality no parent should have to face. This Christmas, you can make sure food is coming. Please support Concern's life-saving work by donating now at concern.net. Thank you.
Do you know Claire Clothing, Letterkenny, has moved to 54 Upper Main Street, right beside Brian McCormick's? And we are now exclusive stockists of Bugatti women's wear at Claire Clothing, Upper Main Street, Letterkenny.
At Super Value with real rewards, get Faustino 5 and Graham Norton Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc wine cases, €50 each. And Persil, Surf, Comfort and Finish laundry and cleaning ranges, 2 for €16. Also get half price on fresh Irish pork loin roast. Check your real rewards app for vouchers and make it a Christmas with a difference at Super Value. Please drink responsibly.
Christmas just got even bigger at Highland Radio. Not only could you win a brand new Renault Symbioz Techno worth over €35,000, but from December 8th to 19th, we're giving away a grand a day. If you've already bought your ticket, you're automatically in. If you haven't, now's the time to get your tickets at highlandradio.com.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It is a minute past 11, time for a news update, and we welcome into studio Ryan Brawley.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Stormont Assembly has heard calls for the representation of Northern Ireland in the European Union. This follows 14 MEPs writing to the President of the European Union seeking observer status for the North. Foyle MLA Ciara Ferguson raised the issue with First Minister Michelle O'Neill, who noted that in the event of a united Ireland, the North would rejoin the European Union and discussions need to begin now. The Northwestern Regional President of St Vincent de Paul is urging people who are struggling to make contact with them sooner rather than later. Rosa Glacken told Greg on the show this morning that many people who are working are barely surviving, and any unexpected emergency may leave them in a very difficult position. She says anyone in that position should reach out for help for the sake of their mental health as well as their financial well-being. The A5 is closed this morning between Newton Stewart and Omagh due to a road traffic collision on the Beltney Road, with police saying they expect it to be closed for some time this morning. Diversions are in place via Drumquin and Barnes Court Road, and people are being asked to use alternative routes where possible. A 31-year-old man has been arrested after a police officer sustained a serious hand injury. This happened in the Gallia Park area of Derry on Saturday, and the man is set to appear at Derry Magistrates Court later today.
The man has been charged with obstructing police, resisting police, disorderly behaviour and common assault, as well as criminal damage, assault occasioning unactual bodily harm and non-fatal strangulation or asphyxiation. Uisce Éireann says their efforts to safeguard water supply for homes and businesses in West Donegal are continuing, with essential maintenance works taking place this week. Crews will carry out reservoir cleaning at the Crawley Water Treatment Plant today. Tomorrow and Wednesday, works will continue at reservoirs in Letcher Macaward, Maharee, Portnew and Rossbeg, with customers in these locations possibly experiencing supply disruptions while the works are underway. Works will be carried out between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m, and Uisce Éireann says crews will endeavour to complete the essential cleaning works to restore the supply to normal levels as quickly as possible. That's all from the newsroom for now. We will be back with another update at 12 o'clock.
Thanks, Ryan, and we'll be back after this short break.
Imagine heartburn protection that lasts up to 24 hours. From first thing in the morning to last thing at night. Don't just imagine. Nexium Control gastro-resistant tablets provide up to 24-hour uninterrupted heartburn protection. Nexium Control 20 milligram gastro-resistant tablets. Ask your pharmacist. Contains esomeprazole. Used for up to 2 weeks. Always read the label or leaflet.
Now, on this this morning's Monday Focus, we talked to Kenneth Egan, the Olympic silver medalist. Celebrates 15 years, so his 15th year of sobriety. Kenneth, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I do appreciate it.
Thanks a million for having me, lads. Thanks a lot.
It's good to have you with us. You've been through it all, haven't you? Between, between the highs, the lows, the battles, the politics, the opinions. It's been a busy life.
I've had a good run at it for 43 years, yeah. I'm still alive, thank God, with some kind of a higher power up there that's looking after me. But down to a lot of different decisions that I've made over my life, I'm in a good place today, and that's the most important thing. I recently lost my mum about a week and a half ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. There's nothing prepares you for that.
Absolutely devastating, to be honest with you. And I'm still trying to come to terms with it, and the grief process is well underway. But, a great gift I gave my mum 15 years ago was to tell her, that I was going to get sober and move on with my life, because I made her life hell for 2 years after the Olympic Games. I caused havoc with my drinking, letting people down. And she said to me early in my recovery, she said, Kenneth, the best gift you've given me is staying sober. And I stayed sober for 15 years. So, the last 15 years of our life have been kind of hassle-free, stress-free, not having to worry about an adult child like me,
Well, also, too, you've given yourself the gift of having 15 years with your mum, too, that's not blurred or anxious or to-ing and fro-ing or up and down or silent treatment here or there. I mean, I think it was a wonderful gift for both of you, and no one can ever take that away from you or her, for that matter.
That's so true, yeah. And it's a blessing that I did give her 15 years of time, and I was present with her, being able to give her a lift whenever she needed one, or small little things, and so I have no regrets in that sense. It's been an amazing 15 years, and I've moved and I've grown so much in those 15 years. And I dread to think, if I had kept drinking, where I'd be today. I genuinely don't think I'd be alive.
Did you, obviously, listen, it's one of the most disciplined sports that you were involved in. And to get to the level that you got to, right? Firstly, obviously, you have to have an innate skill, but you have to dedicate yourself and you have to work with the right coaches and all of that. Were you drinking whilst you were actually boxing, Kenneth?
The way I drank, and I thought I was very clever around my drinking, because I was very calculated, where I would drink on my downtime. So when a competition was over, we'd have a week or two off. That's when I said, right, now I can let my hair down. And I was a binge drinking alcoholic, so I'd let the hair down for 4 or 5 days straight. Then I'd stop, then try and get my act together to try and get some kind of sense back in my life, and then go back training again. And that was my lifestyle. It's mad as it sounds. I was born in the candle at both ends. The training was horrendously hard, and I trained very, very hard when I was on the floor. But it was twice as hard because I was coming in off a 4 or 5 day bender, like underweight. Normally when you come back to a camp, you're overweight because you're eating too much. I was underweight because I wasn't eating.
Wow.
Dehydrated, my thinking was the starter that was all over the shop, and you can't even look your coaches in the eye. You know, the embarrassment and the shame of that comes with it. And that was my life. Right
How did
through,
you justify the boozing,
games.
Kenneth? Was it? How did you justify the boozing? Was the blowout sort of a reward for your dedication? Is that how you framed it in your mind, or was it like, oh, I'm under pressure, I deserve this, or just something that you had to do?
I'd always drank, to be honest with you. You know, right back from when I was 14, 15, I remember drinking and never drinking socially. I can't, and still to this day, I can never imagine myself sitting there having 1 pint and going home. That to me is madness. So for me, it was drinking to oblivion every time. Now, I would get stints of sobriety for a period of time, but like the longest, while I was competing, would have been probably, I don't know, 6 weeks, 7 weeks when I was in a serious training camp and then going to competition. But when I come back then, I'd probably drink for a week and a half, destroy everything that I've worked hard for, my body, my mind, my soul, my relationships, people that, you know, would invest in me, and then I get back on the straight and narrow again, and then that was just the repeat, the cycle. You know, it was horrendous.
Did people give you a lot of leeway? Because I'm not on about necessarily partners or family, but you know, because of your profile and who you are, and you're involved in the boxing scene. It's a big family, but it's a small family. So you know, it's just Kenneth being Kenneth, or at that time Kenny being Kenny. So do you think that kind of masked a bit of the problem?
I think the success that I had, even before the Olympic Games, I was 8 times Irish national champion, 8 senior titles in a row. I was doing really well. I was winning a couple of small medals around Europe and stuff. So I felt I was full of importance, you know, and I could let my hair down, you know, and I could have the few drinks. But when I came back from the Olympics, you know, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to reward myself now. Now I need to let the hair down and have a party. And I didn't feel I was judged early coming back from the games. But when I went on and on and on, like, you know, coming back into training camp late, I remember one instance, my coach Billy Walsh at the time asked me to come in and do a training session with a junior team. This was after the Olympics. And I told him I'd be there. So I landed in anyway at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday morning after a 5 or 6 day bender. And we set up some hurdle hops. And he asked me to do a demonstration to jump over the hurdle hops in front of the junior squad, who were about 15 or 16 years of age. And I'm standing in front of the hurdle hops, and I'm seeing 20 hurdle hops, and there's only 5 there.
Right.
So this is very embarrassing, but this is where the drinking led me. And I'm an Olympic silver medalist standing before these young lads that all aspire to be great champions. And I make an attempt to jump over the first hop, just about make it, and then I tried to jump over the second one, and I miss it and land on my head. Billy Walsh said to me, "Kenna, get the F out of here." Wow. And he sent me home. You know, that's horrendous.
Yeah.
You know, how embarrassing is that?
After the 2008 success, I presume, I mean, the questions were being asked, were you going to turn over, were you going to go pro? Why didn't you at that time? Was it money? Was it the booze? Was it age? What?
Yeah, like I was 26 years of age winning that medal, so I was in my prime.
Right, you were ready to go, yeah.
Yeah, I was good to go, you know, and I did get offers from New York and Los Angeles, both sides of America. And to be honest with you, there was one guy that wanted to invest an awful lot of money in me. I'm talking about 6 figures here. And on the final showdown, if you like, he flew back over from America, landed in the Clarion Hotel here in Dublin, and he had the contract. And I was still drinking at the time, heavily. And I just couldn't sign on the dotted line because I was selling them a fake. And I was thinking to myself, I need to get myself sorted here. I can't be signing contracts not knowing the full extent of what this actually means. Moving to America and trying to compete while not well. So I declined his offer. He was very pissed off, mind you, and he went off back to America. But I just said, you know what, I need to get my life sorted. And I chose recovery over the big signing on fee. And it was the best decision I've ever made.
The best decision.
Without a doubt.
Because you've described yourself as a yes man. Was that really the start of you going, actually, no? And maybe because it was such high stakes, it made that decision even more crucial in the person you are now.
Of course it does. And I was a yes man. I was getting dragged from pillar to post when I come back from the games, as you can imagine. You know, we only won 3 medals that year of a team of 51 athletes. 5 boxers. Out of those 5 boxers, we won 3 medals. So we were hot property, if you like, you know. And I was running around like a blue arse fly trying to keep everyone happy. That was my problem. Instead of saying, no, I can't do this or can't do that, I was dragged from pillar to post. And within that then, when I was finished doing what I had to do throughout that day, I'd say, right now I need to reward myself. I need to switch off time, bit of Kenneth time. And then, of course, I'll be drinking then, obviously. But I let down an awful lot of people from me drinking. Schools that I was supposed to attend, coming back from the games, not turning up. All these little kids with lovely paintings and signs with Welcome Kenny and all this. It was a disaster, an absolute disaster, a time bomb.
But Kenneth, have you forgiven yourself for that? Because that's a couple of times you've mentioned it, and it still feels raw, right? But I hope you've forgiven yourself for that. I mean, you had a disease, like
I in the program, the 12-step program, you talk about making amends when it doesn't harm anyone, and I've made many amends to people that I've hurt when I know it's not going to harm them. I'm fully aware and responsible for all my shortcomings throughout all those years of madness. But what I've gained over the last 15 years, I have a great awareness now. And when I have good awareness, it allows me to make great choices. So I'm in a really, really good, peaceful place now. I have a great peace of mind. I don't rush anything. I take my time. And I can say no very, very easily. No, that doesn't suit me. No, I'm not available. Or no, I can't do that. And I'm okay with that. Whereas before, I'll do that, and put massive pressure on myself to do everything for everyone. So I'm really, really comfortable in my own recovery now today.
Was the booze and self-medicating as well too, Kenneth?
It was just total escapism.
Yeah.
I wasn't comfortable in my own
skin. What were you escaping? Was it just being in your own head?
Just in my own head, my thoughts, my anxiety. I felt I love just sitting there drinking. I just loved that part of it. I loved the crack, the banter, the slagging. But obviously, it never stopped after one night. It was the hangover I couldn't handle. I had to have more drink to suppress the hangover, and then we go again, and until ultimately my body was just too sick to drink, then I'd stop. And that's when you're in a dark place, and I did contemplate suicide a few times, and I just didn't have the courage to go through with it, and a very good teammate of mine, Darren Sutherland, passed.
I remember,
and he was the total opposite to me.
Yeah.
He was a professional. He
doesn't make sense, does it?
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, doesn't make
he was
sense.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
So the mind is very fragile. Very fragile.
And it's so blooming and complex, because that's some juxtaposition there, isn't it? You live in the lifestyle you did, the lifestyle he has, and here we are, and very sadly he's no longer with us, and so much potential there that we never got to enjoy, nor his family to have him around them as well. So when you were saying yes to stuff, and then we'll move on to why you're up here, I'm just curious, did you find someone say, right, can you do this, Kenneth? And you'd go, yeah. But the closer it came, the more anxiety you would have about it, right? To the point whereby you'd be on the brink of it, and then you just have to pull out or go on the booze or what? Was that how it was? So you'd say yes to this, that, and then, but the closer it became, the more anxious you became.
So I'd hate to let anyone down. So yeah, I'd say yes straight off the bat, and I'd say it was a week, 2 weeks time. I'd come up to that date, and I'd be on a high still somewhere.
Right.
So I wouldn't even give any consideration to that meeting or that booking. And then I'm thinking, oh no, I'm after letting this person down. Oh look, it is what it is. And then I drink again, I drink on that, terrible. And then they'd ring you a couple of days later. I had 50 people there waiting for you. Terrible sorry. But really, was I really sorry at the time? I couldn't give a fiddler as long as I was drinking. Deep down.
Yeah. The talk that you're coming up, you're a keynote speaker for this event. It's the White Oaks Centre, their team. They're inviting the public to a celebration of recovery at Christmas, right? So this is different. It's framed somewhat differently maybe from some of the other speaking events that you do. This is about a celebration of recovery. And do you know what? And just listening, as sad as you are, and would be, and I know how it feels with the passing of your mum, ironically, the most joyous thing we've talked about is the 15 years that you took back to have with her. Maybe, and that's just an amazing, it's almost as big a message as anything you've delivered, because that is just the greatest gift to give a mum and yourself as well. So we've been celebrating your recovery throughout this conversation in a way, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. Look, I've achieved some amazing things in my life. Don't get me wrong. The Olympic medal was obviously the pinnacle in my sporting career. But my Olympic medal doesn't come anywhere close to my recovery. And I'm very grateful for the recovery I have, because what I've achieved in those 15 years, even on a personal note, like the girl I was with at the Olympic Games, I threw her to the side like a piece of dirt and went off and caused havoc. I tried to contact her 5 years later, and I sent her a text and she told me to F off, which was fair enough, understandable. But I kept asking her and I kept asking to meet up. We got talking again. And now we're married and we have a 10-year-old girl.
I wasn't aware of that. I didn't expect that story to end up like that. That's brilliant.
That's recovery.
Wow, that's lovely.
You know, but we have a daughter together, an amazing 10-year-old who has never seen me drinking, never seen me drunk, has never seen the inside of a pub. So, you know, my recovery has changed my life immensely, but also the people that I love around me, you know, and that's priceless. So I'm there to talk about the beautiful word recovery and what it means to me as an individual. Like so many good things have happened. Getting back into the workforce, being reliable, being trustworthy, being able to be held accountable, being responsible. All those things come with recovery.
Yeah.
Being a functional adult, you know.
Yeah, it was kind of separate, or maybe. What's your relationship with boxing like now?
I still love boxing. Don't get me wrong. You know, I work in a gym. I do a bit of corporate boxing, fitness, and stuff like that. So, but at the high end, I'd watch it. I would watch it. But you know, boxing was great. I really enjoyed my boxing when I was competing. You know, I got the chance to travel all over the world, representing my country. How proud could you be for that? You know, very, very special. And when I walked away from it, it was the right time to walk away. But I remember speaking to Billy Walsh before I retired. I said, Billy, I'm going to retire after this national final. I'd love to come back in as a coach. And Billy said to me, we'd love to have you in, Kenneth, but we've no funding. You can come in as a volunteer. And that was the first time I stepped away from the sport to say, you know what? You're only a number.
Yeah.
You're only, and that hurt. That really hurt. But then I had to really pull up my socks and say, you know what? I need to make something of myself. I can't be Kenneth Egan, the boxer, solely just that title. And I had to move on with my life, and I went back to college as a mature student, got a diploma in addiction studies, went on to do a degree in psychotherapy. I had to really man up and take hold of my life. And that's tough to do when you're in your mid-30s.
It certainly is. Listen, as someone who watches boxing, I have to ask you, do you ever consider what you might have achieved if you'd have turned over at 26, 27?
A great question, you know. And, you know, when I was sitting in that hotel and he had that contract in front of me.
I want to know who it is. Do I know his name? No?
I tell you his name. He was believe it or not, his name was Joey Winters.
Right.
He had sold his haulage company in New York for 100 million.
Okay.
His mum was from County Clare, and he wanted to bring over someone Irish to set up this whole boxing thing, and I was his number one choice.
Wow.
Now,
so you were the first in his stable, like, that would have been the plan.
Yes, I was the start of it, you know. And he offered me $1 million. There was a lot of money involved, and a wage per week. It all sounded fantastic, but in the small print, it was a 10-year contract. And I was thinking, can I commit to this 10 years, not knowing where my head's going to be at, you know? And I could imagine being stuck in that 10-year contract, underperforming, getting beaten by journeymen, and just being a wash-up.
Yeah.
That's horrendous. But looking back, if I had been sober and I never drank before and I hadn't turned pro, God knows where it'd be. But you know what? Life throws these cards at us, and we have to just work with them. And I got recovery, the best thing I ever done, to be honest with you. And now I'm in an amazing spot where I work. My stress levels are very low. I do my bit of work. I try and help as many people as I can throughout the day. And there's two things I do every day. You know, when I go out of bed in the morning, I tell myself I'm a good person, because I am a good person, and I go out throughout the day not to harm anybody, to cause any havoc, and be respectful. And when I go to bed at night, I say thank you, because I'm very grateful for the life that I have today.
Okay, and it's going to be great having you up here again. Condolences on the passing of your mum, Kenneth. I know it's really, really raw, but you know what? Isn't it lovely that you've got your beautiful family as well, and hopefully a fully no regrets relationship with your mum, which helps grieving, because not everyone has that either too. Thanks very much. I'll remind the listeners after I say goodbye to you of when and where you are, but thanks for chatting to us. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me, lads. Right, thank you.
Look after yourself. Bye-bye. That's Kenneth Egan there, Olympic silver medalist. He is up at the White Oak Centre, and their team is inviting you to a celebration of recovery at Christmas. And the keynote speaker there is Kenneth Egan, Irish Olympic medalist. So it's in the White Oak Centre, Derry Vane, Muff. It's on Saturday, the 6th of September at 2 p.m. And it's an opportunity, and I'm reading here, it's an opportunity to gather in a spirit of gratitude, and family members are welcome. And just to help with catering, if you are going, please give the White Oaks Centre team a ring or an email to confirm your attendance, and then they know how many cups and saucers to put out, etc. So there you go. Kenneth Egan is an interesting character, and isn't he? Because he's obviously very thoughtful and all, but he's very precise in how he speaks as well too. All right, interesting conversation with Kenneth there. Right back after these.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
TFI Local Link operates evening and weekend services throughout rural Ireland to help you stay connected 7 days a week. We know life doesn't just happen 9 to 5, so if you're commuting, shopping, visiting family, or going out in the evenings or on the weekends, let TFI Local Link take you there. Visit transportforireland.ie.
Pandora's Black Friday promotion is here. Save up to 30% on charms and jewellery, plus daily deals, and get an early start to your holiday gift shopping. But hurry, this offer won't be around for long. Offer ends 1st of December. Available in participating stores and online at pandora.net while stocks last. Terms and exclusions apply.
Save 20% in the Loganair Tartan sale with promo code Tartan20. Book now at loganair.co.uk. TCs and exclusions apply, subject to availability.
At Centra, we've got amazing Santa savers from now until the big man arrives. Like Inspired by Centra Party Food range, 2 for €8. Pringles selected range, $1.75 each. And Guinness 8-can pack, $13.26 plus deposit. Guaranteed lowest price. Stock up with Centra. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Hi, Marty Morrissey here. I'm delighted to tell you that the Marty Party is returning to Calpe in Spain next year, from October 1st to October 8th. Johnny Logan will be joined by fellow Eurovision winners Niamh Kavanagh, Paul Harrington and Linda Martin. Also with us will be Sean Kane, the Whistling Donkeys, Honor and the wonderful Tommy Fleming. Book now on email by contacting Deirdre at ConestaTravel.com or phone her at 085 753 9038. The Marty Party, your ideal Christmas present.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time now is 11:24. Ask Kenneth if he would agree with the leading political figure back in the 80s that alcohol was the devil's buttermilk. That's a quote I don't remember. Right, Michael McClune had a very successful Gaelic football career, says the listener, but it was cut short by injury, as John mentioned a little earlier on. He missed out on the Ulster winning breakthrough team of 1972 when he would have been at his peak at the age of 27. Listen, thanks so much for all your comments. They're in the hundreds, actually. So we do appreciate that. I'm going to get through those, as many of those as I can, between today and tomorrow. Now, MEP Cynthia Nimorhu is back on the show. She's been accessing more figures, this time as it relates to people jailed for breaching domestic abuse orders. And there has been a significant increase. Imagine why, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Walter Road, Greg. Good year, Tasha.
Right, so talk us through the figures, Cynthia.
Okay, so I did a Freedom of Information request and I wanted to see how many domestic violence orders were granted but then thereafter breached, Greg. So the types of orders that you can get are fivefold, according to the table that was given to me on foot of the Freedom of Information. So first of all, category 1, breach of a barring order. Category 2, breach of a protection order. Category 3, breach of a barring/safety order. Category, I should say, 4, breach of an emergency order, and category 5, contravention of a protection order. So let's just say these categories were broken down. The three main categories in the family law legislation that I was familiar with for many years running these cases in court was the first protocol is protection order, Greg. You get it, it's one-sided, it's called ex parte. So the alleged abused person makes the application one-sided on his, her, their own to court and gets it for a very limited period so that the alleged perpetrator can be brought before the courts to defend it or otherwise. That's a protection order. The next step up is a safety order, and then it's more long-term, and the next step up is a barring order, which is much more long-term and far more severe. Just to indicate to your listeners, which they probably know, when you get a protection order, short-term one-sided order, or when you get a safety order, it does not require the alleged perpetrator or then the person who's found to be a perpetrator to leave the family home. it requires that person to behave in a particular way, bound by the court, and there's a sanction put on them in terms of the wording of the act. And it's breach of that is a breach of a judicial order that brings along a potential judicial action and a judicial sentence and a criminal sanction, because breach of a court order, a judge's order, is a criminal offence and can be found so. Okay, so you asked me about the increase. The increase in a nutshell of these different categories, Greg, from the year 2020 to the year 2024 is 70%.
Which is quite remarkable. We have a serious issue on this island of violence towards women, and domestic violence is a terrible problem. Not to say that there isn't violence and domestic violence towards men. We recognise that, but the majority of people that are victims are women. This increase, does this show an increase in domestic abuse, or is it sending out the right message? And it's important that we talk about it, that if you are the recipient of one of these orders and go on to break it, you are likely to be locked up. I'm struggling to...
Yes.
To take the pros and cons from it, right? Because the numbers are great, but the increase, it means that the breach of these orders is being taken seriously too.
Yes, it does. Now, the pros and cons are as follows. Yes, Greg, you're so right to have a nuanced approach to this. We have to put it in context. So the years that I got the figures for from 2020 to 2024 were COVID years, and they were also, or post-COVID, if you want to call it coming out of COVID, but also a housing crisis. So they coincided with those. So we have to put it in that context. And that was a situation where people, victims, could not leave the family home. There was nowhere to go. And obviously COVID meant there was doubly no place to go. So we put it in that context. But however, if we turn to a publication like the UN report of last week, it shows that an average of 137 women and girls are killed every day by someone in their family. And of course, we know from our own national statistics and indeed EU surveys that 1 in 3 women has experienced physical and sexual violence since the age of 15. So there's no doubt about it that this is an epidemic. And I'm happy to use that word, completely happy to use it. But I do have a couple of solutions. And before I outline those, Greg, I do want to say that this is two-sided. There are men who are subjected to physical abuse, coercive abuse, controlling behaviour by their spouse who happens to be female, or indeed females can do it to females in a marriage, or indeed, males can do it to males in a marriage. But the preponderance of victims are obviously women. Could I also say, from the point of view of balance, Greg, that I have defended men, husbands, against allegations of this nature, and I have defended them against having a barring order applied to them or imposed upon them. Because unfortunately, and this has to be recognised by judges and the judicial system, there is a certain cohort of people, I'm not going to say women or men, but of people who will bring these applications in order to gain advantage.
Yeah, of course, and that needs to be recognised. And those people actually are doing the real victims of domestic abuse a disservice as well as that individual. Yes. I think societally, there's a massive elephant in the room, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but I just want to recognise it, that I understand there are some people in this country that are very vocal about the safety of women and children. And often the perceived threat might be people who've moved to this country, for an example. And listen, it's perfectly fine to advocate if there are genuine concerns there. But the massive element in the room, and that people won't talk about on a scale or as passionately, is the fact that the majority of abuse of women, their physical abuse, mental abuse, and men, happens within the home. And we don't really talk about it, yet we get all up into a heap, and quite rightly so, with a subsection of this abuse that goes on, and almost ignore the epidemic that's going on within walls.
Exactly. Yes, I agree with you. And that's because the far right, or whoever is putting out this incorrect misinformation, disinformation about violence against women being perpetrated in the main.
Some of it might be correct, though. Like, some of it might be correct. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's about the level of attention.
Yes, of course, but nobody can speak with authority on that unless they got the data and the statistics to back that. And to date, I haven't got those, Greg. So I don't accept that it's mainly immigrants who are doing it, or it's mainly Irish men or Irish women who are doing it. We need to have the data. But could I just go back to the other point that you made? With all that noise around immigration, which I absolutely abhor and call out every time, that negativity and misinformation, you're quite right. Then we excuse away, as a result of that conversation, we excuse away the violence that's happening right right under our noses, in the family home of our neighbours next door, of our sister down the road, of our cousin who's maybe in the next county or whatever. So yes, there does need to be a campaign of calling it out. One of the things I'm calling for is on the judicial side, specialist judges, specialist training, speed up the whole process of making an application, getting it heard, getting it tested, and having a very, very competent judge more trained in this area than they are now, even though they're excellent, the district court judges. They're flat out the door working non-stop because of the volume of cases. But the other thing is, Greg, we have to have a robust education programme in schools for our young women and our young men, and make sure they can get the words, the communication skills to call it out. And for example, in the case of young fellas who think they're just having a laugh, somebody needs to have the confidence to be able to say, listen, I want respect over dominance. I have a mammy, I have a sister, I have
Cynthia,
whatever.
This is only my point of view. I think a lot of that is happening. I think a lot of that's happening, but some way along the line, other influences coming to play, and I think undo that work. I think what we actually need is more. We need more role models, more people with a platform speaking out to counter some of the toxic tactics. I agree. Because I think a lot's going on in school. I just think that at some point that is undone along the way.
Can I just say, no, I agree with you, Greg. You're absolutely right. You have your finger on the pulse there with teenagers. Like, I reared 2 teenagers, and I know, I saw it, I witnessed it, and witnessed how difficult it was for my son at a particular age to actually call it out when I was encouraging him to call this type of behaviour out. But it does move on. Could I just say, with regards to middle-aged men and older men as well, they need to be called out. There's a body of work to be done with them, because we're in the Christmas season now, and it's going to be free season, free reign with regards to domestic violence and drunkenness and overtaking of drugs and abuse of drugs. And women are going to be persecuted. I'm sure they're dreading, a lot of women listening. But older men, the older uncle, the older grandfather, the older whoever, maybe it's a woman as well making derogatory remarks, but let's go with the men at the moment. But they need to be called out and they need to be educated. So where does the education begin for them? Well, obviously in the workplace. So what I don't want to see is, all these policies in work where it's inclusivity and respect for and diversity and inclusivity, but that needs to be made meaningful, mainly by the men in the workplace, not by the women, but mainly the men need to lead out on this.
Okay, Cynthia, thank you for your time. Look after yourself. That's MEP Cynthia Ní Murchú, and there's a lot of men out there too dreading Christmas, and it's about really stamping out it as much as is possible. Anything in that conversation that you relate to or wish to comment on, 08660 25,000, 08660 25,000. I just want to, I actually just want to again just clarify that I'm not associating with the remarks about far right. I think people, very good people, are of the view that, or are very emotional about actual crimes that are perpetrated by different groups of people, but they sometimes ignore what else is going on. That doesn't, to me, make them far right. Are the people in the far right, as it's described, that might sort of try and aggravate that? Yeah, of course there are, but that's always going to be the case. It's about for people to sort of think for themselves, not what I might say or not what some fellow woman says on the internet. It's like in the round, think for yourself and look at, is a particular problem of violence and abuse against women over amplified in very small communities that it exists in, and then completely almost ignored unless you're a victim of it or living through it where the majority of it's happening. And sometimes it feels like the latter is the case, and we try and platform that. Listen, Christmas should be a time of happiness and celebration. For many people it isn't. For some fellas and for some women, they're going to be dreading being stuck in the house as they watch happiness turn to frivolity with drink, which will turn to the snap or the change of mood or the comments. And that's a familiar story out there for people, I would say.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
SSE and Future Energy Ireland have started pre-construction works on the 58 megawatt Drumnahoe wind farm, bringing clean energy, community investment and jobs to the northwest. Join us for public information events at Jackson's Hotel Ballybuffet on Wednesday 10th of December and Foxhall Community Hall, New Mills, Letterkenny on Thursday 11th of December from 2:30pm to 7:30pm each day. These events provide the community and businesses a chance to learn about the construction phase and local supply chain opportunities. Find out more at sserenewables.com/Drumnahoe.
This Christmas, Letterkenny has more shopping choice than ever. From stocking fillers to the perfect gift, there's something for everyone on your list. Shop smart, shop local this Christmas in Letterkenny. Brought to you by Shop LK.
The wait is almost over. Miss Saigon lands at Millennium Forum Derry from the 26th of May. The epic love story is reborn in this spectacular new production of the legendary musical. Don't miss Saigon in Derry for 1 week only. Book now at millenniumforum.co.uk.
This week at Dunnes Stores, check out our half-price takeover. With half price on Christmas favourites like Ferrero Collection 32 pieces, was €24, now only €12. Get half-price snacks and refreshments like Oreo ice cream, was €6, now only €3. And grab Deal 8 of our 12 deals of Christmas with 12-pack cans of 7-Up, Pepsi and Club. Half price at just €5.75. Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop. DRS fees apply.
Clarins' big beauty gift is back at McElhenny's. Purchase 2 Clarins products, one to be a moisturiser or serum, to receive a free Clarins set of travel essentials. Call in store or shop Clarins online at mcelhennys.com to get your free beauty gift, available while stocks last.
Right, welcome back to the programme on housing. Does anybody question the 300,000 houses number? 300,000 houses over 5 years, that's 60,000 a year or 1,200 a week. If working a 6-day week, that's 200 houses a day getting built. Who's going to build them? Ferries at the bottom of the garden. Yeah, but we can build 35. We did build 65,000. We were building, I think, during the boom, 65,000 houses. I'll double check that figure, but it was certainly well above 50. I think it was in the 60,000s. So we've done it before. So if I didn't know that, I'd go, yeah, you're right. Look at the way you've broke that down. It's a great message. But as I say, we did in the past do it. If pension age was lowered, says an emailer, grandparents would have the option to look after the children to allow parents to work. Currently, when the pension age is too old to look after kids. That comes in from Breach. Fair play to you, Breach. I'm going to say this quietly so no one hears me, but I don't want to retire early and look after their kids. Is that bad? I want to kind of, not do that. Maybe go to live in Portugal or something. But if you wanted to do that, that's good. But I don't want to do it. Right, on housing again. Morning, Greg. I'm trying to understand why non-Irish people are being housed before Irish citizens. I know lots of Derry people and Donegal people who are waiting on housing, and yet non-Irish people are getting the homes. How can this be right? Wasn't aware of that. I don't believe Donegal County Council is fiddling with the housing waiting list. Because there is a point system that's there. If there's any evidence of that being circumnavigated, I'd be very interested. I'm not too familiar with the process in Derry. We were talking a little earlier on about the GEA has kicked the can down the road in terms of the official paying of managers. John, what do you think? Should managers get paid? Should players get paid? What do you think?
Good morning, how are you? Well, listen, for me, it's a no-brainer. These guys are athletes. These guys are going out and they're honest to God. They're putting in their heart and soul for their county. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying this with any disrespect, but what do you get from it? Granted, you might win a Sam, or granted, you might win the Ulster. But at the end of the day, what are you achieving? I'm not saying that with any disrespect. You're not able to build a house out of it. You're not able to rear a family on it. It's not a career. And therefore, for me, I just don't like the setup. I'll never support the GAA as long as they're not paying their players and paying their managers. For example, should be set up like a Premier League. It should be set up like they have the same funding, the same But at the end of the day, where's the money going? Because the one thing for sure, they're plenty charging for the players and for the fans to get into the stadium whenever it comes to games and so on and so forth. So my opinion is, as long as the players are not, what are they? Because they're not athletes if they're not treating them like athletes, if they're not paying them. These guys should be on a salary. They should be able to rear a family on it. They're playing for their county. That should mean something, rather than just say, "Oh, I play from my county. Oh, very good. Did you build a house from it?" No, I still have to go to work every day and have to love. You know what I mean? I don't see the logic in it.
But do
quite
you know?
frankly, I know a lot of people
what
out
you're
there would
saying,
say,
but you've made the analogy there of the Premier League, and if you look at Liverpool there now, for an example, you know, the players are on absolutely ridiculous money, and you see them sometimes at the moment going out, and they're not even trying. Is that not the beauty of the GAA, that players, for the love of their county and the pride, go out and put so much effort in? I don't think you see an inter-county team not playing for their manager as often as you would in the Premier League.
Well, you mentioned Liverpool, and I'm a Man U fan, so I hope they keep playing like this. I hope they play terrible. Because I've been watching my club going out every week in and week out, and they don't care. They're not playing for a badge, they're not playing for the club, they're getting a salary. And I get where you're coming from, no doubt about it. It goes too far, where they're getting too much money, and they really don't have to turn up. They're just going. I still think these guys are entitled to something, Greg. I think they should be able to support a family. I'm not talking millions like the Premier League, it's out of hand.
Yeah.
But I genuinely do believe these guys should be able to support a family on it. They should be able to have a house on it, put a mortgage on it. You know, I don't even think, would you be able to take out a mobile phone contract to say you play for the GA? Because you probably couldn't.
No, it's no provable income, yeah.
Do you understand? No proof of income. And this is where I feel so sorry for these guys. And this is why I don't support it, because they're athletes. At the end of the day, what they put in, and I'll take a glimpse of the radio and I'll listen to it, and your man was on saying, "Oh, you can't have them." Brendan was on saying about, "Oh, once you start wanting to pay managers and you start to want the players to start wanting." I would love to ask Brendan, would he come on and do the show for nothing every week? We know he did his sports show.
Yeah,
because
but
that's what you're asking
it's not a great
guys.
example, because this is kind of handy. But I do know what you mean.
But the point is, the point that I'm only just trying to make the point. Would you go and do all this here, and at the end of the day, yes, these guys are getting fair play to them. As I said, they're representing the county, and they feel like this is a big deal to them, and that's good. But come on, in this day and age, it's a salary. Get every one of them, get them on a salary, get them. You take the Scottish Football League, it's one of the worst leagues of football. I would say it shouldn't even be televised, it's that bad. But look at the money it revenues. Look at the setup, because there's something, you know, if the GAA had the right support
listen here. I'm going to talk to you then. We're going to use the SPL, because I couldn't get you on the Premier League, so I'm going to get you on the SPL. You've got two rich. I mean, now, forgetting the last year or two, right, where Rangers and Celtic at times have gone to pot. The reason that's a nonsense league is because there's two big clubs, right? Traditionally, there's two big clubs. Yes. They're all paid, right? But you get two clubs that dominate. Could that happen whereby Dublin and Kerry start dominating the GAA scene like the SPL, because they have the biggest opportunity to get in advertisers? Go ahead, John.
Well, I don't think so, and I'll tell you the reason why I don't think so. I've been really proud of the three guys for Donegal this year that got through to represent for the Ireland under-17s over in Qatar there. Brilliant, honest to God, fair play to them. What an opportunity and what a thing to be able to say, you know. So when you look at the likes of that, for example, three young lads from Donegal in that squad was incredible. And again, you have the unders, I think it's under 15s, another three guys for Donegal representing. It's all about the quality of the player. I can't see it. And Donegal, listen, we're a very big county, and I think, to be honest, if we're going to produce good Gaelic players, if they had something to play for at the end of the day, or if you even had something that would cover their medical expenses for whenever things goes wrong.
When you were talking there, I was thinking, say county councillors, I think what they get like 25 grand a year or something. So it's not a wage or something like maybe intercounty. But then again, you know, the squad's massive. You know, some of the squads are 40, 45 players. I don't know. It's interesting, John. It's an interesting conversation that the GAA is struggling to have.
Thanks very, very much. The one question, Greg, I will say to you is, as I said, thanks for having me on, is, you mean, where is the money going? if they're not able to pay them. That's all I ask.
There's
a lot of money made. There is a lot of money made, but I don't
look
think
at the facilities. There's a pitch in every parish. They're getting floodlights now. There's clubhouses. They're the hubs of the community.
No,
Did you ever see that map of the lights?
I know. But can you imagine, Greg, make it like you mentioned that Scottish football, like take Celtic and Rangers out of it. Every other club the players are all still getting money. They're all still getting paid. It mightn't be millions or big money.
I'm not sure it'd be televised if those two were out of it. Yeah.
Well, no, probably not. But the bottom line is, it would be, do you know what? It'd be a fair competition. But I think across the board, pay your players, pay your managers, and make it a decent league. Make it something worth watching.
All right.
I'll not support it as long as them creditors are getting nothing. I think for me, what's the point in saying you want a trophy? I know it sounds really bad, but that's just for me. I just feel bad for these guys because. All right, thanks very much.
Listen, John, thanks for
that.
that. Good man. Fair play to you. What do you think? Do you agree with John 08660 25,000 on the new rental rules? No, Greg, you cannot sell your house during the 6-year tenancy under the new rules. Big landlords and pension funds will buy up property for rent and they'll put up the rent for new tenants. Why is Highland defending the government's hatred of Irish people? You were going so well till that nonsensical last statement, to be honest with you. As if, why would I be defending the government's hatred of Irish people? That's not what the feedback I get, to be honest with you. So you can evict during the 6-year tenancy, if particularly if you're classed as a small landlord. So that's 3 or fewer tenancies. So if the tenant has not met their obligations, that's ground for eviction. The property is no longer suitable for the tenant's needs, ground for eviction, not sure what that means. Financial hardship, if the landlord needs to sell the property due to financial difficulties, so you'd probably have to demonstrate that, which might be difficult. For family use, and I think this is one that will be used quite a bit, if the property is needed for a close family member, a parent, a child or a spouse to live in, then you can evict during the 6 years. Other reasons for smaller landlords may include the landlord returning from abroad or needing to renovate the property at the end of the 6-year term. So there are... for smaller landlords, 3 or less properties, there are some outs there. Right, we're going to get the latest from An Post as it relates to some important dates for Christmas, but I do have to take this quick break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
The spectacular Gerbola's Christmas Circus comes to the Neil T. Blaney Road in Letterkenny from Friday, December the 5th for 2 weeks of festive family fun, featuring some of the biggest stars in world circus, including from Paraguay, the death-defying motorbikes inside the Globe of Death, and from Brazil, the legendary Flying Trapeze. Book your circus tickets now on circusgerbola.ie.
Looking ahead to 2026? Now's the time to order your 261 Kia at Heron Auto, Donegal Town. With 5 brand new Kia models arriving, there's never been a better time to upgrade. With smart design, a 7-year warranty and finance starting from 0%. Kia delivers style, comfort and performance you can rely on. Visit Heron Auto, Donegal Town. Secure your 261 Kia today. Drive with confidence. Drive with Heron Auto.
This Christmas, you'll find all the best perfume, aftershave and cosmetic gift sets for less at McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. Like Technic cosmetic sets from only $3.95, or Lynx, Dove and Nivea sets, all from just $4.95. There's something for everyone on your list this Christmas at McGee's Chemist. Shop in store or at mcgees.ie. McGee's, where the best costs less.
Have you got your tickets yet for the Highland Radio Christmas concert? Tickets are selling fast. Join us on Tuesday the 9th of December in the Mount Errigal Hotel with Derek Ryan, Mike Denver, Jerry Guthrie, Keith and Ray McDonald, Des Willoughby and myself, David James. Tickets available now at highlandradio.com. Grab yours before they're gone.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Discover Christmas gift ideas for everyone on your list, from trending beauty to memorable Secret Santa gifts. Visit us in Ballybuffet to explore our extensive range of gifts or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
So we're going to see the showers merge into longer spells of rain in the afternoon, but they'll become less frequent in the evening in temperatures of 7 to 11 degrees. Angus Laverty is Public Affairs Manager with An Post, and it is that time of the year. Good morning to you, Angus. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Greg, and good morning, Donegal, on the 1st of December.
Indeed, indeed. Now, your teams are out and about working weekends and everything, which is superb. If you're waiting on an order, it's lovely when it lands a day before you were expecting it. But there are some important dates coming up in terms of if you're posting abroad, and I suppose internally as well, but the more pressing dates, there's only a couple of days to go for some of this stuff, Angus.
Indeed, those deadline dates are coming at us down the tracks very, very quickly. And the first hits us on this coming Thursday, which is the 4th of December. And that's the best possible posting day for parcels to the USA and for letters and parcels to what you might call the rest of the world. That's Australia, New Zealand, all those far-flung locations.
Is there anything we need to keep in mind in terms of what we can post, or does it depend on the destination country and people need to check that out themselves, Angus?
It does very much depend on the destination country. The best place to go is to the On Post website, and you'll find a section there which gives you some really good advice on what you can send and how you might send it. And that's the best first port of call for people. The key thing is to be organised, to do your bit of research, to get out those Christmas lists from last Christmas, set down and get stuff in the post as early as possible to make sure you get that lovely parcel, that message, that letter, that card, to wherever you need it in whatever part of the world you're sending it.
Many people might still want to send a letter or a card to the United States. They have until the 10th, last orders on the 10th to ensure delivery by Christmas.
You do indeed. That's the date for the US. And this year, as we're saying to everybody who's posting, maybe you might also think of putting a little bit of special personal message in there with your letter or your card, a little bit of Irish perhaps, a little Nullicona or Krieg or Cree. Send a little bit of Irish, send a bit of Irish love to whatever part of the globe you're sending to.
Right, so parcels to Europe, which will separate out Britain and Ireland from this, but parcels to other European countries, 12th for packages.
Yeah, all parcels going to Europe should be posted by the 12th. Letters and cards then on Thursday the 18th. Letters and parcels to the UK will be Tuesday the 16th. And then the big dates for Ireland for home are, we pulled back the dates for parcels to the 16th of December just to help out a bit, and Monday the 22nd for letters and cards.
Right, now, the important one, thankfully we're ahead of the pack here to some extent, I think. Well, not ahead of the pack, but with the leading pack, because Arwie Hudson sent his letter to Santa yesterday. But if mums and dads and children have yet to get the letter for Santa, what is the deadline date for sending that to the North Pole, Angus?
Okay, well, again, the secret is get cracking. Get cracking now. The best possible date for your letter to Santa is the 10th of December. So just pop your Christmas letter in an envelope, seal it, address it to Santa Claus in the North Pole, stick a nice end stamp on it, make sure the child's name and address are clearly written in the top left-hand corner of the envelope, and on post, Santa and his elves will do the rest.
Wow, exciting stuff. Okay, listen, well done, Angus. Angus Lafferty, Public Affairs Manager with An Post. So, children's letters to Santa to be sent by the 10th. And all they need to do is put their letter in an envelope, seal it and address it to Santa Claus, North Pole. Stick a national end stamp on it, but please make sure that the child's name and address is clearly written in the top left corner of the envelope. So the address is Santa Claus, North Pole, and the child's name and address clearly written on the top left hand corner of the envelope. So last days for posting, I'll just run through them one more time for you. Outside of Europe, Australia, New Zealand, etc., Thursday the 4th of December. Latest date for posting cards to the United States of America, Wednesday the 10th. Parcels for Europe should be packed and posted by Friday the 12th, and letters by Thursday the 18th. And let me see, where's the internal one? Can't find it now. It's in front of me here somewhere. I'll come back to that in a sec. It's much later. Oh, yes, here we are. Tuesday the 16th is the posting deadline for all parcels for pre-Christmas delivery within Ireland and to Britain and Northern Ireland. Right. We got some lovely nominations in and I want to read them, but I don't have time and I've run out of time. But here's the winner. I'd like to nominate Sharon. Sorry, is this the winner, the top one? No, it's not. It is. I'd like to nominate Sharon O'Donnell from Ramelton, who works in Letterkenny General Hospital in the field of palliative care. Sharon lost someone very close and special to her this year to cancer. Not only did she support them through it all, but following her devastating loss, she went back to work to care and support for so many patients and their families who were going through the end-of-life process. Sharon had a heart of gold. She's a mum in a million and always has an open door and heart for her friends, no matter what she's going through personally. I want Sharon to know that she means so much to so many people, and I'm blessed to call her my friend. That's lovely, Julie. Thank you for that. Well, you and Sharon are in the pot. You're going to be one of 5 in on Friday to win those €250 one-for-all vouchers each. So stay tuned. More opportunities to win tomorrow. Have a fantastic day, everyone. We got more. I'll try and get to them tomorrow too, because they're actually really quite heartwarming and moving. And we'll have more opportunities to win tomorrow. Stay safe, though, everyone, and stay